Chapter 101. Visiting Sick Father, Healing Bread. From shopkeeper to auction house proprietor. Career progression continues to get stranger. For now, Lola said, returning to her usual customer role. I'll take my usual order. I need to maintain energy for tomorrow's promotional activities. Oh, by the way, the maximum limit has increased to 2 items per person if you would like to buy. Really? Then I guess that's my new order. Then, she smiled with obvious satisfaction. Back to business as usual, though nothing about this feels usual anymore. Noah retrieved the double order from his inventory, watching Lola's expression brighten at the prospect of increasing the purchase limit. 60 golden coins changed hands, adding to his growing wealth while cementing another satisfied customer relationship. Host: Noah Carter. Age 28. Shop level 2. Daily revenue $5,000. Current assets $180,240.21. Shop points 90. Attributes: Strength 20, Vitality 4, Intelligence 20, Agility 20. Skills: Swordsmanship level 6, Mana Control level 5, Surviving on Ramen level 3, Cooking level 2, Programming level 2, Gaming level 2, Finance level 1. Auto Iced Tea Maker level 3. Production rate 2 iced teas every hour. Max stock 48. Progress 4/200. Auto Baker level 3. Production rate 4 loaves every hour. Max stock 48. Progress 4/200. Shop points are back to 90 after the upgrade, but the production improvements make it worthwhile. With 2 fresh loaves in his inventory, Noah made a decision that filled him with anticipation. Instead of selling them to customers, he carefully transferred both wrapped breads into his storage ring. Time to test the dimensional item transfer properly. The magical healing bread disappeared into his storage space with ease. For the first time since discovering his shop, he could bring supernatural benefits directly to the people who mattered most. Dad's gonna get some good medicine that money can't buy. Well, in the earth at least. Noah placed his closed sign and stepped through the portal, feeling the familiar transition between the magical realm and the mundane reality. Time to visit Dad. The storage ring stood on his finger, its contents representing hope in a way that traditional medicine couldn't match. While healing bread wouldn't instantly cure everything, 30% enhanced natural recovery could make a significant difference for someone fighting a serious illness. It'll take more than 1 loaf since it increases the body's natural healing by 30%, and Dad's healing rate is low to begin with since he's a sick human. But it'll help nonetheless. The GTRS engine purred to life as Noah settled into the driver's seat. I'm about to become the only person on Earth with access to magical healing. Probably the only supernatural individual on the entire planet. The thought was outrageous. He wasn't just successful anymore. He was unique in ways that transcended normal human experience. The hospital's familiar corridors welcomed him. Room 412. Dad's waiting. Noah knocked gently before entering, finding his father propped against pillows with a book resting open on his lap. Alan's face brightened with the kind of joy that made all of Noah's hard work feel worthwhile. Noah, wasn't expecting you tonight. Brought you something special, just before the visiting time ended. Noah replied, settling into the visitor's chair with excitement. Time to change everything. What's this? Alan asked, studying the carefully wrapped bread in Noah's hand with curiosity. Bread from a specialty bakery, Noah explained, keeping his explanation grounded in reality. Supposed to have exceptional nutritional properties. Not entirely false. It does have exceptional properties. Alan unwrapped the golden loaf with careful attention, immediately noting its unusual warmth and the subtle glow that seemed to emanate from within. This looks different from the usual bread. Almost luminescent. High-quality ingredients. Noah deflected smoothly. Try a piece. I think you'll find it's unlike anything you've had before. His father broke off a section and took a cautious bite. This is so good. Alan breathed, his voice carrying strength that hadn't been there moments before. I feel energized, like my body just remembered how to function properly. The nutritional content is supposedly very advanced, Noah replied, watching his father's transformation with satisfaction that transcended mere filial duty. Alan continued eating with obvious appreciation, each bite bringing visible improvement to his overall condition. The magical enhancement worked through his system like gentle fire, revitalizing cellular processes that had been struggling against illness. I haven't felt this good in months, his father admitted, sitting up straighter than he had since his hospitalization began. Where did you find this bakery? Small specialty shop, it's far from here. My friend brought me some and I wanted you to try it. I can ask him for more if you want. Alan nodded. That would be great. Thank him for me. They spent the next hour talking with energy that had been missing from their recent conversations. Alan's improved vitality made him more engaged, more present, more like the father Noah remembered from before illness had diminished his strength. I should probably save some for tomorrow, Alan said, carefully re-wrapping the remaining bread. Actually, Noah smiled, producing the second loaf from a bag he had brought with him. I brought extra. His father's expression shifted to amazement mixed with concern about expense. Noah, this must have cost. Dad, Noah interrupted gently. Business has been very good. Let me worry about costs. You focus on getting better. As visiting hours drew to a close, his father looked better than he had in weeks, and the remaining bread would continue enhancing his recovery. The drive home passed in contented silence, Noah's thoughts already turning toward tomorrow's auction and the continuing expansion of his shop. Inside the city of Esta, two figures could be seen battling each other in a courtyard. Swish! Whoosh! The swords collided against each other in rapid, successive motions that made everyone watching shocked. Swish! Valeria's sword collided with Alyssa's, and the sheer power from the attack sent Alyssa skidding back a couple of steps. Huff! Puff! Alyssa was breathing heavily, sweat glistening on her face, whilst Valeria had a smirk with some labored breath, although not as much as Alyssa. Alyssa, you're scaring me. Do you miss him so much that you are improving so quickly? Valeria teased the catgirl, whose tail wagged at the mention of Noah. Despite her obvious embarrassment, she didn't admit anything and continued the attacks. She's already halfway through the apprentice swordsman rank. This girl is terrifying. She might reach adept in a couple of weeks and become the youngest to ever do so, Valeria thought, blocking Alyssa's attacks. Chapter 102. The Idle Room. The next day, Noah woke up with anticipation that made coffee unnecessary. Multiple objectives competed for his attention. He had to sell his stock, explore the new floor in the shop, and the looming auction that would raise his income to new heights. I've got a busy day ahead. Better start early. Upon arriving at his shop, Noah grabbed a golden loaf from his inventory. The familiar warmth spread through his body as he bit into the healing bread, providing both sustenance and enhancement. Breakfast of champions. Literally. Noah was no longer the cheapskate who didn't dare to eat the loaf that cost $1,000. With his morning meal in hand, Noah climbed the new staircase to explore the mysterious second floor that had emerged during his upgrade. The space opened into something resembling a well-appointed apartment rather than simple employee quarters. This is like a small house. The main area featured comfortable furniture arranged with obvious thought. Plush sofas, cushioned chairs, and a dining table that could accommodate multiple people. A bed occupied one corner, while a separate door led to what appeared to be a private bathroom. Better accommodations than my old apartment. Maybe I should move in here. But another door in the far corner caught his attention. Unlike the bathroom entrance, this one seemed somehow mysterious. What's behind this door? Noah approached with curiosity mixed with caution. The handle turned smoothly, revealing a space that defied his expectations entirely. Click. Idle room. The notification appeared as question marks filled Noah's consciousness. The room beyond looked ordinary. Empty walls, simple flooring, nothing that suggested special purpose or function. Idle room? That tells me exactly nothing. He stepped across the threshold, and another system prompt flashed across his retina. Welcome to the Idle Room. Here, you will be able to train any skill you want whilst being idle. Your avatar will train the skill you want to improve, whilst you can enjoy your time doing what you like. An avatar that trains skills while I'm doing other things? This is incredible. Noah's excitement spiked as implications flooded his consciousness. Passive skill development while managing his shop, sleeping, or traveling between dimensions. The efficiency gains would be astronomical. Would you like to unlock your avatar? Yes, no. Obviously, yes. Why would anyone say no to automated skill training? Noah slammed the yes button with enthusiasm, already planning which skills to prioritize for passive development. Avatar unlock requires payment of $1 million. Proceed with transaction. Yes, no. $1 million. Noah's jaw dropped so far it practically hit the floor. His excitement evaporated like water in a desert, replaced by the bitter taste of system manipulation. They made it sound free. Would you like to unlock your avatar? Not, would you like to pay a fortune to unlock your avatar? His current assets couldn't even cover 20% of the required payment. The Idle Room, which had seemed like a generous upgrade bonus, was actually a premium feature locked behind a paywall that made his protein bar prices look reasonable. This is robbery. Digital highway robbery. Although it's worth it, I can't lie. Noah's frustration built like pressure in a boiling kettle. The system had dangled amazing functionality in front of him, then demanded payment that exceeded his current wealth by 5 times. Played. I got completely played. He stormed out of the Idle Room, biting into his healing bread with aggressive intensity while muttering curses that would have made demons blush. Stupid system. Stupid $1 million avatar. Stupid false advertising. Make it sound free, then charge a fortune. This is worse than clickbait. This is feature bait. Host, I can hear you. The system's voice carried amusement that made Noah's frustration spike even higher. Of course, you can hear me, because apparently nothing is private in this shop. Noah stopped his verbal assault immediately, suddenly aware that insulting his primary source of supernatural power might not be strategically wise. Right? Probably shouldn't antagonize the entity that controls my entire livelihood. He finished his healing bread in sullen silence, then descended to the main floor. $1 million. I need to make $1 million for an avatar. Noah flipped his shop sign to open, with perhaps more force than necessary, the wooden panel swinging with violence that reflected his emotional state. I guess I will have to wait until I have enough money. Although it would have been nice if I was able to start the avatar training immediately. The morning light streaming through his upgraded windows illuminated the elegant display cases and spacious interior, but Noah's mood remained as dark as the Idle Room's locked potential. The familiar sound of footsteps approached his entrance, accompanied by an aura that made the air itself dance with mischievous energy. It was Lola wearing a smirk that suggested she'd accomplished something particularly satisfying. Good morning, my favorite shopkeep. Her ruby eyes sparkled with mischief. Good morning, Lola. Noah replied back with a soft smile. I spread word about your auction across the entire kingdom, she announced with pride. Every noble, wealthy merchant, and power-hungry demon now knows about your new powerful product. Noah's frustration with the system's prank evaporated instantly, replaced by appreciation for her promotional efforts. Word-of-mouth marketing from a master-level succubus would reach audiences he couldn't access independently. Thank you. That's exactly what I needed to hear. I'm almost shaking with excitement, Lola continued, settling into her usual position near the counter. Half the demon nobility is canceling evening plans to attend. Really? They want it that much? Of course. I made sure to make it seem as if it's a one-time event. When the supply is low, the demand increases. This will help us increase the price in the auction, just like we planned. She winked at him with a grin on her face. Speaking of supply, she said with playfulness, I believe my purchasing limit has increased to 2 items per person. You wouldn't happen to return back to the usual overnight, right? Absolutely. 2 of each product if you want. Perfect. Golden coins appeared in her palm. Chapter 103, Auction. I'll take the full order, 2 loaves, 2 iced teas. 60 golden coins. Noah retrieved the items from his stock, watching Lola immediately unwrap 1 loaf and uncork a bottle. The familiar ritual of bread consumption followed by iced tea enhancement played out with her obvious satisfaction. She sighed with contentment. Your products never disappoint. They always make me feel some type of way. The remaining items disappeared into her storage space. Their transaction concluded just as the shop door opened again with a dramatic flourish that announced Viscount Vex's arrival before he became visible. His cape billowed with energy while Precious perched behind his ear like a hair accessory. Right on schedule. Morning routine never varies. Vex's eyes immediately found Lola, and he offered a courteous nod that spoke to proper demon etiquette among social equals. Lady Lola, always a pleasure. Viscount, she replied with equal courtesy, though her smirk suggested amusement at his formal mannerisms. Vex approached the counter, his gaze immediately seeking the protein bar display case. He began speaking with barely contained excitement. Noah, my friend, about yesterday's magnificent discovery, the protein enhancement treasure. When might it become available for purchase? Here we go. Time to direct him toward the auction. Actually, there's going to be an auction for it, Noah replied, noting how Precious's teeth clicked with anticipation. Vex's expression shifted from excitement to something approaching panic. Auction? But surely loyal customers deserve consideration before public bidding. The auction is in 2 hours. You are one of the only people who didn't hear about it, mainly because you are never part of the noble circle. Lola interrupted smoothly, her voice carrying enough authority to make Vex's protests die instantly. Central Plaza, evening marketplace. Bidding starts at sunset. Vex's expression shifted from indignation to sheepish acceptance. His shoulders sagged slightly as the truth of her words settled over him like uncomfortable clothing. I suppose you are right. I never hang out with other nobles, nor am I in the inner circles. Well, thank you for the information about the auction. I really appreciate it. Even demon society has its outcasts. Vex's flower obsession probably doesn't win him many friends among the political elite. 2 hours, Vex repeated, his mind visibly calculating something entirely different from financial preparation. Yes, that provides adequate time for proper gathering of my demonicas. I will bring a few of my precious demonicas. Noah is a nice man, and he deserves them. His products are amazing too. He's planning to trade rare plants instead of gold. That might be good. If the plant is better than Munberg, it might be worth the trade. I will see what the others will give too, I suppose. Precious clicked her teeth with what sounded like enthusiastic agreement, apparently approving of her master's generous strategy. Rare demonica plants as auction payment would be infinitely more valuable than mere golden coins. The benefits they could give would accelerate his development beyond anything monetary compensation could achieve. That's very generous of you, Vex, Noah replied with genuine appreciation. The carnivorous flower extended tiny vine tendrils in what might have been a wave. I'll require my order first, Vex said, returning to immediate concerns, plus additional supplies for auction preparation. 2 loaves, 2 bottles. Precious insists we maintain peak condition for competitive bidding. The golden coins exchanged hands, and Noah stored them in his storage ring. Vex broke off a piece of golden bread and held it toward Precious, who accepted the offering with delicate vine movements. The carnivorous flower's needle-sharp teeth worked through it with obvious appreciation. But the feeding ritual wasn't one-sided. Precious's tendrils curled around a smaller section of bread, offering it back to Vex with genuine affection between companions. The Viscount accepted the plant-delivered morsel with touching gratitude, his expression softening as he chewed the bread his flower had shared. They actually take care of each other. It's almost sweet if you ignore the teeth the plant has. Vex uncorked 1 bottle of iced tea, taking a sip before tilting it toward Precious. The flower's vines wrapped around the glass container as it drank. Excellent preparation, Vex announced. Precious feels magnificent, and I'm operating at optimal capacity. The flower clicked her teeth in what sounded like satisfied agreement, her vine tendrils swaying with contentment. I must return home now, Vex continued, his voice carrying the urgency of someone with important preparations awaiting. Harvesting the proper Demonica specimens requires careful consideration. Precious leaned forward from her perch, extending a single tendril toward Noah in what appeared to be a farewell gesture. The carnivorous flower's usual clicking sounds had softened into something approaching gratitude. We'll return in 2 hours, Vex promised, already moving toward the exit, properly equipped for serious bidding. The door closed behind them with Vex's characteristic dramatic flair, leaving Noah alone with the succubus. An hour passed by in a blur. Lola remained by Noah's side during that time, positioning herself as both advisor and source of constant amusement. You're so cute when you're trying to be a serious businessman, she teased, whispering in his ears as Noah explained auction procedures to yet another customer. Acting all professional when you're practically vibrating with excitement. She's not wrong. This is my first auction, and I have no idea what I'm doing. I'm maintaining appropriate decorum, Noah replied. Sure you are. Lola's tail swished with amusement. That's why you've checked the protein bar display 17 times in the past hour. Has it really been 17 times? I thought I was being subtle. Throughout the hour, a steady stream of customers flowed through his expanded shop. Each transaction brought opportunities to spread the word about the evening's main event. Protein enhancement bar auction tonight, Noah would announce after completing routine sales. Central Plaza, sunset bidding. The responses varied dramatically based on each customer's circumstances. I'll be there, declared a well-dressed demon merchant. Been looking for strength enhancement for years now. Others showed interest tempered by financial reality. Can't afford to bid, admitted a young demon adventurer. But I'll definitely watch. Never seen anything like the permanent attribute enhancement before. Chapter 104, Royalty Attending Auction. Royalty will be attending, whispered a silver-horned demoness. Prince Malphas himself is supposedly interested. The demoness clearly enjoyed gossiping and didn't hesitate when the chance to do so revealed itself. There is royalty coming to buy my products. This is going to be troublesome. Maybe nobody will dare to bid against them. Even Lola might not. He thought, subtly glancing at Lola. The rumor had circulated throughout Sin City with remarkable speed, transforming Noah's auction from a local curiosity into an event that attracted the kingdom's highest social tiers and lowest social tiers. Royalty were adored in the demon kingdom, hence why most demons participated in the royal parade. How did word reach royal circles so quickly? Noah asked Lola during a brief lull between customers. I may have mentioned the auction to certain well-connected individuals, she replied with vagueness. Word travels fast in noble circles, especially when it involves unprecedented magic items. She's been working her contacts. This auction's going to be bigger than I expected. Prince Malphas, Noah repeated, testing the name. Should I be concerned about his royal attention? Lola's expression darkened subtly, her usual playful demeanor replaced by something approaching wariness. The change was slight but noticeable to someone who'd spent some time with her. She definitely has issues with royalty, just like I suspected. Don't worry, she replied with casualness. The royals wouldn't do anything out of order in daylight. Too many witnesses, too much public scrutiny. That would ruin their good image. That's something they don't want to do. But the auction is in the evening, Noah pointed out, watching her reaction carefully. Lola's confident response died mid-formation. Her mouth opened, then closed without sound. For a moment, the master-level succubus looked genuinely speechless. The silence stretched between them for a few seconds before Noah broke it. It was a joke, Noah said finally. But on a serious note, are you saying he might do something in the dark? Lola shrugged with nonchalance. Who knows? It depends on the outcome of the auction. That's not reassuring at all. Noah felt a chill that had nothing to do with the shop's temperature. The protein bar represented incredible value, but attracting royal attention might create complications beyond his pay grade. "You're not going to back off from our deal, right?" he asked, worry creeping into his voice. The price arrangement? If Lola withdrew her support now, the auction could become a disaster rather than a triumph. Royal intimidation might suppress other bidders, leaving him with minimal competition and disappointing returns. Her smirk returned with intensity that reminded Noah exactly why succubi were considered dangerous. "The price game? No, why would I? In fact, I might go harder now." Hee. "What do you mean by go harder?" Noah pressed. "Let's just say that royal presence creates opportunities." Her tail swished with anticipation. Princes are predictable creatures. Pride, ego, and public image, all excellent pressure points. We will use that to increase the price. Although Prince Malphas is known for his humble attitude in the public eye, it's nothing but a facade. She's going to manipulate Prince Malphas during the auction. This should be interesting. The door chimed as another customer entered, cutting short their conversation. But Noah caught the gleam in Lola's eyes that suggested she was already formulating plans for the evening's entertainment. Royal manipulation by a master-level succubus. Either this auction becomes legendary, or I end up in a demon dungeon. "What if your manipulation backfires?" Noah asked quietly after the customer left. "What if the prince realizes that he is being played?" Lola's laugh carried enough confidence to reassure and terrify simultaneously. "Noah, I've been playing political games since before you were born. Trust me when I say I know exactly how to handle royalty." Another wave of customers entered, their excited conversations about the upcoming auction filling the shop with anticipation. Word continued spreading through Sin City's population like wildfire, each retelling adding embellishments that grew the event's reputation. "Besides," Lola continued in a whisper, "you have something every demon in the kingdom wants. Permanent attribute enhancement doesn't come along often. Prince or not, he'll have to compete like everyone else." Assuming the auction remains a fair competition rather than a royal decree. The time for the auction had arrived, and the central plaza buzzed with energy. "It's good that the auction is right next to my shop. Perfect location for maximum impact." Noah had invested 100 golden coins in hiring a professional auctioneer, a significant expense that Lola's connections had made surprisingly reasonable. Without her influence, organizing an event of this caliber would have cost many times over. Not cheap to organize something like this, but not prohibitively expensive either, at least with the right connections. It will be worth every coin if it drives up the final price. The protein bar remained safely secured within his shop's protective walls. Too many unknown variables made public display risky, especially with royal attendance confirmed. Better safe than sorry. The last thing I need is someone trying to steal it before bidding begins. Demons began gathering in the plaza as sunset approached, their numbers growing steadily as word continued spreading through Sin City's social networks. "Did you hear? The item grants permanent strength enhancement." Impossible. Nothing provides permanent boosts without catastrophic side effects. "I disagree." The human shopkeeper had kept his word for all of his products. They are all insanely powerful, and he wouldn't ruin his reputation for nothing. Besides, he wouldn't dare do it, especially when royalty is in question now. Near the merchant quarter, a well-dressed demoness adjusted her jewelry while speaking to her companion. Prince Malphas rarely attends public auctions. His presence suggests that the item really does have an extraordinary value. The auctioneer, a distinguished demon with silver horns and immaculate wear, tested his voice projection while assistants made final preparations. His presence commanded attention through sheer professional bearing. "Ladies and gentlemen of Sin City," he announced to the growing crowd, "tonight's auction represents an unprecedented opportunity to acquire permanent body enhancement." He knows how to work a crowd. Chapter 105. The auction begins. Murmurs rippled through the demons as newcomers arrived in steady streams. Wealthy merchants clustered together, their expensive accessories glinting under the platform's lights. Noble families occupied prime viewing positions, their retinues creating small islands of privilege. The turnout exceeds my wildest expectations. This is going to be massive. Viscount Vex arrived with his cape billowing despite the absence of any wind. Precious perched behind his ear, her needle-sharp teeth clicking with excitement. Behind him, servants carried ornate cases that presumably contained his promised Demonica specimens. He brought backup plants. A commotion near the plaza's eastern entrance announced more significant arrivals. Guards in royal livery cleared pathways through the crowd, their formation speaking to serious security protocols. Royal entourage. This is really happening. Prince Malphas emerged from the protective formation like a figure from legend. His presence took everyone's immediate attention. He was tall, imposing, with features that spoke to generations of selective breeding for power and intimidation. Every demon in the plaza seemed to unconsciously step back, creating space around his arrival. The prince's gaze swept across the assembled crowd with a soft smile. His expression suggested someone who viewed the evening's proceedings as entertainment rather than a serious challenge. Lola appeared beside Noah with her usual dramatic timing, appearing as if she'd stepped out of the shadows rather than simply walked through the crowd. Noah got jump-scared by her sudden appearance. "You scared me. Can you stop with this sudden appearance?" "Hee." She giggled at his reaction. Her outfit for the evening was particularly stunning, elegant enough for royal company, provocative enough to distract male bidders. "Excellent turnout," she murmured, her ruby eyes tracking various arrivals with interest. She's already analyzing the competition. This woman doesn't miss anything. More notable figures continued arriving. A group of demon merchants whose expensive carriages suggested that they had some serious purchasing power. Several mages whose robes displayed guild affiliations and academic credentials. Even a few adventuring parties who'd apparently pooled resources for tonight's opportunity. Diverse crowd. Multiple bidding strategies will emerge once the action starts. The auctioneer called for attention as the final stragglers found positions. His voice carried across the plaza with professional authority that silenced conversations and focused every eye on the central platform. "Distinguished guests of Sin City," he began, his tone building anticipation like a master storyteller. "Tonight, we auction an item of unprecedented magical properties. Permanent attribute enhancement. A treasure that kingdoms have waged wars to possess. Building excitement through scarcity and exaggeration. This guy knows his business." Excited murmurs rippled through the crowd. Permanent enhancement represented the holy grail of magical development. Benefits that would last lifetimes rather than temporary boosts. "Bidding will commence shortly," the auctioneer continued. "But first, allow me to explain the extraordinary properties of tonight's centerpiece." Noah felt his pulse quicken as hundreds of demon eyes fixed on the platform where his product would soon be displayed. He had initially wanted to keep his product inside the store, but Lola convinced him that she would protect it. Thus, he decided to place it there. If anything goes wrong, she will pay for it. Lola's hand briefly touched his shoulder, a gesture of support mixed with anticipation for the chaos she was about to unleash. "Ready?" she whispered. Noah nodded, watching Prince Malphas take his position near the platform's front. "Ready as I'll ever be. Let's see what happens when royalty meets marketplace competition." The auction was about to begin. The plaza settled into place as the demons found their designated seating. "Everyone's here. Time to see how this unfolds." The auctioneer stepped forward, his silver horns gleaming under the dramatic illumination. His voice carried across the assembled crowd with commanding presence. "Once again, welcome, distinguished guests, to tonight's extraordinary auction. We begin this evening with exceptional items from Sin City's finest craftsmen and merchants. Smart to start with regular items. Build excitement before the main event. Our first lot comes from Master Corgan's renowned forge, a Tier 3 blade of exceptional quality." Two assistants carried a display case onto the platform, revealing a sword. The weapon's dark steel held an almost liquid quality. It was easy to discern its amazing craftsmanship just by looking. That's definitely not standard craftsmanship. Corgan really is one of the best blacksmiths in Sin City. Behold the iron cutter blade, the auctioneer announced with theatrical flourish. Tier 3 enhancement with magic affinity channeling, self-sharpening properties, and armor penetration capabilities. Master Corgan has declared this among his finest works. It's considered the best in its tier. Murmurs of appreciation rippled through the crowd as experienced warriors recognized superior weaponry. The blade's craftsmanship spoke of its maker's skills. Bidding opens at 50 golden coins. 50 coins for a Tier 3 weapon. That's actually a reasonable starting price given the quality. Hands rose immediately as serious collectors competed for Corgan's masterwork. The price climbed steadily, 120, 140, 160 coins as determined bidders refused to yield. Sold to Lord Theron for 165 golden coins. The auctioneer declared as a demon noble claimed his prize with obvious satisfaction. Strong opening. Good sign for tonight's main event. Next, we present an enchanted shield from the workshop of Artificer Myrax. The subsequent item was a tower shield that seemed to shimmer with protective energy. The Aegis Ward, Tier 2 magical protection with damage absorption, elemental resistance, and automatic repair functions. Opening bid, 30 golden coins. The bidding proceeded with enthusiasm that suggested the evening's crowd had come prepared for serious spending. Adventurers competed against nobles while merchant collectors drove prices toward their maximum thresholds. Sold for 95 golden coins. Consistent, strong results. The crowd's definitely ready to spend. Additional items followed in rapid succession. A pair of boots that enhanced movement speed, a cloak that provided magical concealment, and a staff that amplified elemental spells. Each lot drew competitive bidding that pushed final prices well above opening amounts. This is a perfect warm-up. Everyone's getting comfortable with the bidding process. And now, the auctioneer's voice dropped to build dramatic tension. We present a collection of rare alchemical ingredients from the private vault of Master Chemist Valdris. Chapter 106. The auction begins. 2. 3 ornate bottles appeared on display pedestals, their contents glowing with colors that seemed to shift based on viewing angle. Even from his position, Noah could sense the magical potency contained within. Phoenix ash, dragon scale powder, and essence of temporal flow, materials that most alchemists can only dream of acquiring. Combined opening bid, 100 golden coins. The crowd spending limits are definitely in the right range for my product. The bidding war that erupted was fierce enough to draw impressed murmurs from spectators. Wealthy mages competed against noble collectors, driving prices toward levels that made Noah's pulse quicken with anticipation. Sold for 230 golden coins. 230 for alchemical supplies. These people have serious money to spend. Prince Malphas had remained silent throughout the preliminary auctions, his expression suggesting boredom with items beneath his interest level. But Noah caught him checking a timepiece, clearly waiting for the evening's main attraction. He's here for the protein bar specifically. This is going to get intense. Lola positioned herself strategically within the crowd, her ruby eyes tracking various bidders with predatory attention. She'd identified key players and was clearly preparing her manipulation tactics. She's ready to work her magic. Time to see what creative chaos she unleashes. Distinguished guests, the auctioneer announced, his voice silencing everyone else's. We now arrive at tonight's centerpiece, an item of unprecedented magical properties. The crowd's energy changed perceptibly as anticipation reached fever pitch. This was the moment everyone had gathered to witness. By special arrangement with a master human craftsman named Noah, we present the Protein Enhancement Bar, the first known item capable of permanent attribute enhancement at any rank. Here we go. Everything builds to this moment. This extraordinary creation provides a 50% temporary increase to strength attribute for 20 minutes, plus a permanent increase of 10 attribute points upon first consumption. Gasps echoed through the assembly. Even though they've heard the effects before, hearing it again didn't make it any less powerful. That's a good reaction. They are still hyped for the product. I'm going to be rich. Prince Malphas straightened in his seat, his bored expression changing to interest. Now I have his attention. Let's see how deep royal pockets actually go. Given the extraordinary nature of this item, bidding opens at 200 golden coins or equivalent trade value. The auctioneer's declaration sent ripples of excitement through the assembled crowd. 200 coins represented serious money, enough to fully equip a starting adventuring party. Double the opening price I expected. Seems Lola really done me good. Hands shot up immediately as wealthy bidders staked their claims. The competition began with enthusiasm that suggested the final price would climb far beyond the opening amount. 210, called a demon merchant. 220, countered a mage whose staff gleamed with high-tier enchantments. Strong opening pace. These people came prepared for serious spending. Prince Malphas remained seated, his expression suggesting mild interest rather than urgent concern. Royal bidding typically waited until competition thinned to more manageable levels. He's playing the long game. Smart strategy for someone with essentially unlimited resources. 230. 240. The increments climbed steadily as determined bidders refused to yield early ground. Adventuring parties pooled their resources while individual collectors pushed toward their maximum limits. This is already exceeding my most optimistic projections. 260, announced Lord Theron, the same noble who'd claimed Corgan's void-cutter blade earlier. 270, replied a demoness. The bidding continued its relentless climb as competitors drove prices toward levels that made casual observers wince. Nearly 300 coins already. At this rate, we might break 400. But as the price approached 300 coins, the pace began to slow. Bidders dropped out one by one as their financial limits approached, leaving only the most determined competitors. 290, called the merchant, his voice carrying less confidence than earlier. 300. Lord Theron's bid drew murmurs from spectators who recognized serious money in motion. 300 coins. That's already life-changing wealth. The merchant hesitated, clearly calculating whether he would be able to contend later on. After several long seconds, he shook his head and settled back in his seat. One down. How many serious bidders remain? 310. The jeweler-wearing demoness called, her voice steady despite the astronomical amounts involved. 320. But as the price climbed toward 350, even determined bidders began reaching their limits. The demoness hesitated longer between bids, while the mage's confident posture showed subtle cracks. They're approaching maximum sustainable spending. Time for royal intervention. Prince Malphas chose his moment. As the bidding stalled at 340 coins, he raised his hand casually. The gesture immediately caught the attention of everyone present. The prince was finally starting to bid. 400 golden coins, jumping 60 coins in a single bid. The effect was immediate and devastating. Remaining bidders exchanged glances that spoke to shared recognition of futility. Competing against royal resources was financial suicide for anyone without equivalent backing. The auctioneer paused, scanning the crowd for continued competition. 400 golden coins from His Royal Highness. Any additional bids? Silence stretched across the plaza as determined bidders accepted defeat. Going once at 400 golden coins. This is it. If Lola's going to act, it has to be now. Going Chui dash. 410. The voice cut through the evening air with timing so perfect it seemed planned. Every head turned toward Lola, who'd raised her hand with elegant confidence that challenged the prince. There she is. Let the games begin. Prince Malphas's expression remained the same despite the unexpected competition that emerged at the last second. His eyes narrowed as he evaluated this new challenger who dared contest royal authority. 420, the prince replied. That's a modest increase, coming from a prince. Lola's smile widened. 430. She's enjoying this. The crowd's energy transformed from resigned acceptance to anticipation. Royal bidding wars were a rare entertainment that most demons never witnessed personally. Chapter 107. The auction begins. 510, Prince Malphas replied, his tone remaining steady despite the astronomical figure. His expression carried the same neutral composure he'd maintained throughout the evening. Focused but not emotional. He's treating this like a business transaction rather than a personal affront. Smarter than I expected. Lola's smile widened as she prepared her counterbid, clearly enjoying the elevated price. But before she could respond, an unexpected voice cut through the tension. For 120 golden coins, plus 3 rare Demonica specimens. Vex? Every head turned toward Viscount Vex, who stood beside his ornate plant cases. Precious clicked her teeth with excitement from her perch behind his ear, apparently approving of her master's bold strategy. Clearly, Vex defied the norms of the demon society. As an outcast who didn't really meddle with other nobles and royals, he didn't mind bidding against the royal prince. The auctioneer paused, clearly calculating the combined value of the monetary bid plus exotic Demonica specimens. Rare Demonica plants commanded decent prices among collectors and cultivators. The Honorable Viscount offers 420 coins plus Demonica trade goods, he announced. Estimated total value approaches 580 coins. 580 equivalent. Vex just jumped ahead of everyone through his bidding. Prince Malphas studied Vex with interest rather than irritation. The Viscount's unconventional approach represented legitimate competition rather than direct challenge to royal authority. 600 golden coins, the prince stated, maintaining his measured cadence. Straight monetary response. He's avoiding the complications of trade evaluation. Lola's ruby eyes sparkled with delight as the competition intensified beyond her most optimistic projections. 3 serious bidders meant sustained pressure that would drive prices toward ridiculous heights. She's orchestrated this perfectly. Royal bidding plus noble competition plus her own manipulation. 610, she called, keeping the increments manageable while maintaining pressure. Vex consulted with Precious in a whispered conversation, the flower apparently providing advice about bidding. Their partnership had always been unusually collaborative. 520 coins plus 3 Demonica specimens, Vex declared, expanding his offering. The Demonicas include a mature Shadow Bloom and juvenile Crystal Vine. The total price stands at 720 golden coins. The crowd murmured with appreciation as plant enthusiasts recognized the specimen's significance. Shadow Blooms required years to mature, while Crystal Vines provided ongoing benefits. The auctioneer paused, clearly calculating the combined value while considering precedent for mixed payment auctions. His expression suggested genuine uncertainty about proper valuation procedures. The Honorable Viscounts offer totals approximately 720 coins equivalent, he announced after brief consultation with his assistants. Prince Malphas studied Vex. The Viscount's approach represented creative problem-solving rather than simple wealth display. He wasn't merely entering with golden coins, he was entering with what he was known for, his Demonica plants. 730 golden coins. The prince responded, his tone remaining measured despite the astronomical amounts involved. Lola's ruby eyes sparkled with delight as the competition intensified beyond anyone's projections. 3 serious bidders created sustained pressure that would drive final prices toward ridiculous heights. 800 golden coins, Lola declared calmly, making the astronomical amount sound reasonable. Vex's shoulders sagged as the number registered. His face cycled through disappointment, acceptance, and finally admiration for the sheer scale of wealth being deployed. He began, then stopped. Precious clicked her teeth sympathetically from her perch behind his ear. He's out. I concede, Vex announced with as much dignity as he could muster. May the enhancement serve its new owner well. The crowd murmured appreciatively at his gracious withdrawal. Losing a bidding war to royal wealth and master-level succubi carried no shame. Down to 2. Prince versus succubus. This is what everyone came to see. Prince Malphas turned his attention fully to Lola, studying her with a calculating gaze. 900 golden coins, he stated, his tone carrying subtle weight beyond mere monetary increase. The prince's expression changed slightly. Lady Lola, perhaps we might discuss alternative arrangements. You will do me a great favor by letting me take this item. Every demon in the plaza leaned forward. Royal favors were currency more valuable than gold among the nobility. Lola's smile widened with satisfaction rather than concern, as if she were waiting for this moment. Your Highness, while your favors are something that can't be measured with monetary value, but I really need this item, as it might help me push past my current limits. In front of all the demons present, Lola politely rejected the prince. Her tone carried enough respect to avoid direct insult while making her position absolutely clear. Whatever favor the prince referenced wouldn't influence this competition. Prince Malphas nodded with what might have been approval. As you wish. 900 golden coins stand. 910, Lola called. The bidding resumed its relentless climb as both competitors demonstrated a serious commitment to acquiring permanent enhancement. 990, Prince Malphas replied with steady confidence. So close to 1,000 coins. This is it, the final threshold. But instead of continuing the monetary escalation, Lola's expression shifted to something approaching satisfaction. Her ruby eyes sparkled with mischief. I know that look. Chaos is incoming. She's about to do something crazy. It seems golden coins are no longer sufficient currency for such a treasure, she announced. Therefore, I offer a treasure as a payment. Lola reached into her storage space. Every demon in the plaza felt the change as another treasure entered the equation. What is that thing? The item appeared as a small white orb that seemed to contain swirling mana within its surface. This is the Eye of Apollo, the powerful artifact that discerns truth from falsehood, sees through all deception, and reveals the nature of any being upon whom its gaze falls. An artifact. She's bidding with an actual artifact. The crowd's collective gasp echoed across the plaza as the implications registered. These kinds of artifacts represented power beyond monetary valuation, items that even kingdoms treasured. Noah's enhanced perception focused on the mysterious orb, triggering his inspection ability almost involuntarily. Eye of Apollo. Description: a powerful artifact capable of detecting truth, piercing illusions, and revealing the fundamental nature of any target. Provides absolute truth detection within its area of influence. No deception can withstand its scrutiny. Tier 5. Estimated price 1,100 golden coins. Chapter 108. Sold. Prince Malphas stared at the orb with an expression that cycled through surprise, calculation, and growing respect for Lola's boldness. The auctioneer stood frozen, clearly uncertain how to evaluate the artifact versus monetary bidding. His training hadn't covered such powerful item appraisals during active auctions. How do you price something that's technically priceless? The Eye of Apollo, the auctioneer repeated slowly. A bold gambit, Lady Lola. Would you mind telling us how much it's worth? Lola nodded with a smirk that suggested she'd been waiting for exactly this question. 1,100 golden coins, if you can find it for sale. Since you can't, its actual price is considerably higher. 1,100 coins minimum. She just raised the stakes beyond anything we've seen tonight. The crowd murmured with appreciation for both the artifact's value and Lola's boldness. Prince Malphas studied the Eye of Apollo with the calculating gaze of someone who understood exactly what kind of power was being offered. His expression suggested serious consideration rather than automatic escalation. He's weighing his options. Since Lady Lola has decided to introduce Tier 5 items, the prince announced, I shall naturally respond in kind. The prince reached into his own storage space, withdrawing an orb that seemed to contain miniature storms within its silver surface. Wind currents swirled through its depths. Another powerful artifact. Of course, he has one sitting in his storage ring. The wind orb, Prince Malphas declared, holding the sphere aloft for the crowd's inspection, containing concentrated essence of the sky realm's most powerful atmospheric forces. Noah's inspection ability triggered automatically as the orb's power washed over the plaza. Wind orb. Description: a legendary artifact containing pure wind essence harvested from celestial storms. Provides a deep understanding of atmospheric manipulation and serves as a catalyst for wind-based magical development. contains enough elemental energy to awaken dormant affinities. Tier 5. Estimated price: 1,300 golden coins. 1,300 coins are equivalent. He just outbid her legendary artifact with an even more valuable one. But instead of disappointment, Lola's expression carried satisfaction that seemed completely at odds with being outbid. Her ruby eyes found Noah's position in the crowd, delivering a tiny smile that only he could see from his angle. She's done. This is what she wanted all along. The realization struck Noah like lightning. Lola hadn't been trying to win the auction. She'd been manipulating Prince Malphas into offering exactly the kind of payment that would benefit Noah most. This succubus, she's incredible. She played everyone, including this prince. Going once for the wind orb, the auctioneer called, his voice concluding one of the kingdom's most expensive auctions. Going twice. 1,300 coins worth of elemental artifact. Some sales redefine entire economies. Sold to His Royal Highness Prince Malphas. The gavel's impact echoed across the plaza like thunder, finalizing a transaction that would be discussed in demon society for decades. You have sold your first protein bar. Daily income stream activated. Protein bar idle income. Wind orb or equivalent in gold. Reward: Auto protein bar level 1. Daily income stream of legendary artifacts. The system just transformed my entire business. Noah could barely contain his excitement as implications flooded his consciousness. The transaction was completed almost immediately. Prince Malphas claimed his enhancement with satisfaction that suggested money well spent, while Noah accepted the wind orb with reverence befitting legendary treasure. If I sold these orbs to the Academy in the human realm, I could make a decent profit. Or maybe I could trade one for a different elemental affinity that might be more valuable in the long run. Then again, I could give one to Kip. He is a mage, and this would definitely boost his power. Noah's mind went through all the different possibilities that the wind orb offered him, and there were plenty. Prince Malphas departed with his retinue, the protein bar secured within royal storage for immediate consumption. His expression carried contentment that suggested successful acquisition of the desired enhancement. Lola melted back into the crowd subtly, avoiding any appearance of close connection to Noah's shop. Her performance had been flawless, manipulation disguised as competition that achieved everyone's objectives. She couldn't be seen entering my shop right after that performance. It would have been too obvious. She would return later on, and even if anyone questioned it, they had no evidence. And if they chose to push harder, well, they could try. She was a master-tier mage after all. The plaza gradually emptied as spectators discussed the evening's unprecedented events. Record-breaking prices, legendary artifacts, royal participation. Enough material for months of speculation. Noah returned to his shop with the wind orb clutched carefully in both hands. He had already paid the auctioneer his due. For now he needed to check his reward. The artifact pulsed with contained wind power that made his senses tingle with anticipation. Time to see if this unlocks my elemental affinity. Inside his transformed shop, surrounded by glowing demonica plants, Noah settled into a meditation position with the silver orb resting in his palms. Lola had discreetly provided instructions before the auction's conclusion. Insert mana into the orb and feel the wind. Noah focused his level 5 mana control, channeling energy into the small orb. The response was immediate. Power flowed from his consciousness into swirling atmospheric essence contained within. Connection established. Now what? At first, nothing happened beyond the orb's gentle warming against his skin. Still nothing. Maybe this won't work after all. But gradually something shifted. Noah's mana sensitivity began detecting patterns within the orb's chaotic energy. Atmospheric currents that had seemed random revealed underlying structure. There it is, I can feel it. Something's changing. Minutes passed as understanding slowly developed. The wind essence stopped feeling alien, becoming something he could almost touch with conscious intent. Getting closer, the barriers weakening. His mana merged deeper with the orb's contained storms, consciousness expanding to encompass atmospheric forces that defied normal comprehension. Almost there. Just a little more. Suddenly, connection blazed through his awareness like lightning. Wind essence flooded his magical channels, transforming theoretical understanding into visceral knowledge of atmospheric manipulation. You have learned the skill Wind Manipulation Level 1. Yes. Chapter 109. New Talent. Host: Noah Carter. Age 28. Shop Level 2. Daily Revenue: $1,350,001. Current Assets: $315,240.21. Shop Points: 1,010. Attributes: Strength: 20. Vitality: 4. Intelligence: 20. Agility: 20. Skills: Swordsmanship, Level 6. Mana Control, Level 5. Surviving on Ramen, Level 3. Cooking, Level 2. Programming, Level 2. Gaming, Level 2. Finance, Level 1. Wind Manipulation, Level 1. Daily revenue jumped to $135,000. Noah stared at his status screen, still processing the transformation. His idle income now included a Tier 5 wind orb alongside Demonica Munberg. Time to test what Wind Manipulation Level 1 actually accomplishes. Standing in his expanded shop, surrounded by the gentle glow of the sun and the star plants, Noah raised his hand and focused on the new skill. The wind essence within his mana channels responded with eager cooperation. A gentle breeze stirred around his fingers, lifting strands of hair softly. The sensation was intoxicating. The wind forces were now obeying his conscious will. It works. The basic control felt natural rather than forced, like flexing a muscle he'd always possessed but never knew how to use. Wind currents swirled around his palm, creating very tiny whirlwinds that dissipated at his command. Level 1 has basic capabilities, but at least it's something. Noah experimented with different applications, discovering the skill's current limitations through testing. He could generate breezes strong enough to cool his face or rustle papers, but nothing approaching combat effectiveness. Baby steps. Every master started somewhere. Focusing more intently, he managed to create a small vortex at his fingertip. He could make wind currents spiral like a microscopic tornado. The effect lasted several seconds before his concentration wavered and the pattern collapsed. I can make a small tornado. That's a promising start. The practice continued as Noah explored every aspect of his first elemental affinity. Wind responded to emotional states as much as conscious direction, swirling faster and other things. He discovered he could influence air temperature slightly, creating pockets of cooler atmosphere through accelerated circulation. Not enough for practical cooling, but it proved that there was massive potential waiting to be unlocked. An hour passed in experimentation as Noah pushed Level 1 wind manipulation toward its absolute limits. Each successful technique built confidence while revealing pathways for future applications. It's getting more responsive. The skills developing faster than I expected. The breakthrough came during an attempt to maintain the multiple small vortexes simultaneously. Instead of controlling each one separately, Noah let his awareness expand to encompass all the air currents at once. Suddenly, the entire shop filled with coordinated atmospheric movement. Gentle breezes circulated in perfect harmony, creating an environment that felt alive with elemental energy. Your wind manipulation skill has leveled up to Level 2. Level 2 already. That was fast. I expected it to take days to increase its level. At Level 2, Noah could generate stronger currents, maintain effects longer, and execute multiple techniques without mental strain. Noah's smile widened as he tested it. Wait, maybe I could improve it further by using the wind orb. It does have the wind element after all, maybe I could learn a few things. The thought sent excitement coursing down his spine like lightning through copper wire. If his theory proved correct, he might skyrocket through skill levels faster than he had imagined possible. Time to find out if Tier 5 orbs make better teachers than meditation alone. Noah retrieved the wind orb from his storage ring, feeling its contained power pulse against his palms. The orb's surface seemed to respond to his elemental affinity, swirling wind moving faster as his mana touched its edges. Here goes everything. He channeled his wind manipulation directly into the artifact, feeling his consciousness merge with the concentrated elemental essence contained within. This is incredible, Noah thought. A huge smile plastered across his face. Knowledge flooded his brain like a dam bursting. It wasn't techniques or applications, but a fundamental understanding of wind itself. How air molecules danced through space, how temperature differences created pressure variations, how currents formed and dissipated according to natural laws. It's teaching me the physics of wind manipulation rather than just magical techniques. Noah's comprehension deepened as the orb shared secrets that most wind mages spent decades discovering through trial and error. He began understanding wind not as a force to be controlled, but as a living system to be harmonized with. Wind doesn't want to be commanded. It wants to be guided along paths it already prefers to travel. The revelation changed his entire approach. Instead of forcing air currents into unnatural patterns, Noah learned to read existing flows and redirect them with minimal energy expenditure. Maximum effect through minimum intervention. You have to work with the wind, not against it. His consciousness expanded to encompass the shop's entire atmospheric environment. Every breath from the Demonica plants, every thermal current from the lighting, every draft through the doorway, all became visible as interconnected streams of moving air. It's like seeing a three-dimensional map of invisible rivers. Noah began conducting these aerial rivers with growing experience. Gentle nudges at key points created domino effects throughout the space, transforming chaotic air movement into proper circulation. One small change here creates larger changes there. The orb's teachings revealed how masters achieved seemingly impossible effects through understanding of leverage points. A tiny vortex in the right location could redirect massive air masses with elegant efficiency. It's not about power. It's about knowledge. Your wind manipulation skill has leveled up to level 3. Level 3 already. Half an hour of orb-assisted training versus what would have probably taken days of conventional practice. The advancement brought enhanced sensitivity to air currents and expanded control range. Noah could now influence wind patterns throughout his entire shop rather than just the immediate vicinity. Let's see how far this can go. He dove deeper into the orb's concentrated wisdom, his consciousness merging more completely with elemental essence. The orb revealed advanced concepts that challenged his understanding of physical reality. Chapter 110, Level 4 Wind Manipulation. Wind carries more than just air molecules. It carries its own signature of mana. It carries hidden information that only those with the wind talent can translate. Noah began sensing the subtle differences between various types of air movement. Breezes created by natural temperature gradients felt different from currents generated through talent usage. Each carried distinct signatures that revealed their origins. Every wind tells a story about where it's been and what created it. The orb taught him to read these aerial narratives, understanding the different patterns, magical disturbances, and even the emotional states of nearby beings through their unconscious influence on surrounding air currents. Beings breathe differently when they're excited versus nervous. The wind remembers everything. His skill development accelerated as theoretical knowledge transformed into instinctive understanding. Techniques that should have required months of practice became accessible within minutes of comprehension. This is what learning from concentrated elemental essence feels like. Pure knowledge transfer. Noah noticed the orb's internal energy diminishing as he absorbed its teachings. The swirling wind moved more slowly, its luminescence fading as concentrated wind essence flowed into his developing magical channels. It's sacrificing itself to teach me. The orb is literally giving up its power to enhance my understanding. No wonder why orbs are so rare. It's because the more you comprehend it, the less concentrated it becomes. But instead of concern, Noah felt excitement. His daily protein bar income included replacement wind orbs, meaning he had unlimited access to this kind of accelerated learning. 1 orb per day. Infinite advancement potential. What Noah failed to realize was just how shocking his casual use of legendary artifacts would appear to other mages. Tier 5 elemental orbs weren't just rare. They were kingdom-shaking treasures, the kind of items kings went to war over and mages dreamed of acquiring in their lifetimes. Even at the prestigious Academy of Sina in the Demon Kingdom, the most elite students, those who shattered records or ranked at the very top, were granted only a few fleeting minutes with such an orb. And even then, it was a tightly monitored privilege, used solely for rapid comprehension during breakthroughs. Yet here Noah was treating them like snacks in his shop. If word of this ever reached Sin City or Esta, there'd be riots. The masses wouldn't just be outraged. They'd want Noah skinned alive and hung up as a warning to anyone else who dared waste a Tier 5 orb like it was candy. But ignorance provided bliss as Noah continued his intensive session. The orb's teachings revealed advanced applications that bordered on miraculous. It provided him with a few basic techniques that would help in combat, such as short levitation and quick speed bursts that would help him dodge dangerous attacks. The levitation technique made him think of something that made his body tremble in excitement. Once he reached a high level of attainment in wind manipulation skill, he would be able to use flight. The possibility sent shivers of anticipation through his body. Level 3 remained far from such advanced applications, but the foundation was being established through the usage of the concentrated orb. Every skill level unlocks new possibilities. This is just the beginning. The wind orb continued sacrificing its essence for Noah's education, each absorbed fragment bringing deeper understanding of elemental manipulation. Your wind manipulation skill has leveled up to level 4. After reaching level 4, Noah decided to end his training session. He had learnt enough, although there was still a decent amount of wind concentration inside the orb, he decided to stop. The process was mentally fatiguing. It was like sitting down to study for your exams for 6 to 7 hours in one go. It was tiring but very enjoyable, which made it an enjoyable session. Checking his system status, Noah smiled. Host: Noah Carter. Age 28. Shop level 2. Daily revenue $135,000. Current assets $315,240.21. Shop points 1,010. Attributes: Strength 20, Vitality 4, Intelligence 20, Agility 20. Skills: Swordsmanship, Level 6. Mana Control, Level 5. Wind Manipulation, Level 4. Surviving on Ramen, Level 3. Cooking, Level 2. Programming, Level 2. Gaming, Level 2. Finance, Level 1. His current assets did not include the wind orb's worth, which made Noah realize that his current assets would only count his monetary assets. He could convert the wind orb to golden coins and see the assets skyrocket, but that would be foolish. Furthermore, he realized that after using the wind orb, the value of the orb had decreased to 500 golden coins. It was clear that his theory of it depleting at some point was correct. Not bad. I'm what they call a wind mage now, he muttered, a huge smile breaking out on his face. Time to check on my automakers. Auto Iced Tea Maker, Progress 52/200. Level 3. Production rate 2 iced teas every hour. Max stock 48. Auto Baker, Progress 53/200. Level 3. Production rate 4 loaves every hour. Max stock 48. Auto Protein Bar, Progress 0 out of 100. Level 1. Production rate 1 bar every 2 hours. Max stock 12. As he had expected, the progress of the protein bar was 0 just like the others. But what shocked him was the insane production rate of the protein bar. Damn, I can get 12 bars a day. It's the same starting point as the iced tea. Whilst he knew that having so many bars was going to increase his wealth significantly, he also knew that there was a downside. The astronomical price for the protein bar wasn't because of the 50% increase in strength, but it was because of the increase in the strength attribute by 10, regardless of rank. His fingers drummed against the counter. This isn't working. I need everyone to purchase this product. Otherwise, it will take me a millennium to increase the automaker to level 2, he muttered. He didn't want to sell to the elite few and have the rest of the market walk past his shop. He wanted lines out the door. He wanted everyone, rich or poor, novice or veteran, to bite. Then the idea hit him. Chapter 111, Price Issue, Heading to the Crimson Mountain. Adept rank and higher, he said. First-time buyers, 1,000 gold. That's fair. They know how hard it is to raise attributes at their level. I need to keep the price in the same range as the auction. Otherwise, the prince might think I've scammed him. I don't want trouble knocking on my door. For those same buyers, any repeat purchases drop to 50 gold. They've already gained the permanent buff, so they're just coming back for the temporary strength boost. Keep him hooked. 50 golden coins is a reasonable price. It's double the price of my iced tea, and nearly has double the effect. He paused, then added another tier for the lower ranks, apprentices, novices, those still clawing their way toward adept. 100 gold for them. Still expensive, but they'll pay it. It's worth 10 times more in attribute growth. A satisfied smirk tugged at his lips. It was solid, balanced. Then the grin faded. His mind conjured a scene. Some clever novice strolling in, buys a bar for 50 gold, and flips it to an adept for 500. Or worse, some noble hiring a squad of rankless nobodies to bulk buy on their behalf. He sighed and rubbed his temples. No, not happening. After a few minutes of extra thinking, he came up with an extra security step. First purchase must be eaten in-store. No exceptions. If they don't eat it here, they don't get it. But an issue remained. Those who needed the temporary strength increase couldn't eat the bar in the store. Otherwise, they would be wasting its effect. He decided to keep the product on hold for the time being. He'd plug the bigger holes later. Maybe Lola would have something clever to add. She always did. But for now, the pricing strategy was in place. For the first-timers, and the shop was open. Current assets, $315,240.21. Staring at his asset value, Noah realized he could afford the second item in the shop slot. The energy drink sat there temptingly, offering identical effects to the protein bar except for agility enhancement instead of strength. Same $300,000 price tag. Same permanent attribute boost. After contemplating for several seconds, Noah decided against the purchase. There was no need to introduce another premium item when he hadn't even solved the protein bar's pricing complications. There's no rushing it. I can buy it another time. It's not like anyone can spend 1,300 gold coins in my shop right now anyway. Better to perfect one product line before expanding into others. He stepped out of his shop, placing the closed sign on his door with satisfaction. The evening's auction had been exhausting, but the results exceeded every projection. Time to test out my wind manipulation skill. The Crimson Mountains stood in the distance. Let's see what these new abilities can accomplish against real opponents. What Noah failed to account for was the attention his auction performance had attracted. Multiple interested parties had been watching his shop since the legendary artifact bidding concluded, and stepping out without protection after displaying that kind of wealth. It was an amateur's mistake. Target has moved out of his shop. It's time to move. One of the figures spoke to the others. 3 figures detached themselves from various shadowed positions around the plaza, their movements unseen. They'd been waiting for exactly this opportunity. The first was a lean demon with scarred arms. His equipment suggested mercenary work. He was clearly an experienced man in the field. The second figure moved with magical energy that made the air shimmer around his robes. A combat mage, probably apprentice level, whose presence suggested this wasn't simple robbery. They followed at careful distances as Noah made his way toward the city gates. Noah remained blissfully unaware of his tale as he approached the familiar crimson landscape. His thoughts focused on testing wind magic rather than potential threats lurking behind him. The mountain paths stretched ahead, offering both privacy for training and, unfortunately, perfect conditions for ambush scenarios. Once inside the Crimson Mountains proper, Noah spotted an unexpected figure lounging on the grass near a cluster of bouncing blue creatures. Blop! 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 The slimes hopped around Lola with innocent enthusiasm while she reclined against a boulder. Ruby eyes fixed on the evening sky with unusual tranquility. What's a master-level mage doing in beginner hunting grounds? Noah approached with genuine curiosity. "What are you doing here?" Lola turned her head, offering him that familiar seductive smile. "I come here every now and then to lie down and watch the sky over the crimson peaks. It's a nice view. It's relaxation time for a succubus, I guess." Before Noah could respond, her expression shifted. Her head snapped toward the mountain entrance with sudden alertness, smile transforming into something far more dangerous. "Oh, it seems like we have visitors." Her smirk carried lethal promise. "Visitors? That doesn't sound good." Lola's body vanished like smoke dispersing in wind, leaving only the gentle blop sounds of confused slimes wondering where their observer had gone. She disappeared, completely gone. Noah spun toward the entrance, his eyes finally detecting what Lola's master-level senses had noticed immediately. 3 figures emerged from the mountain paths with weapons drawn and magic crackling around their forms. The slimes continued their innocent hopping, completely oblivious to the violence about to unfold in their peaceful territory. Blop, blop, blop. One moment, the 3 attackers were advancing with confidence. Next, they found themselves teleported directly in front of Noah, with Lola materializing beside them like death incarnate. Lola didn't have the ability to teleport, but her speed was so incredibly quick, it made it appear like she teleported. What just happened? The mercenary's sword arm froze mid-swing as he processed his sudden relocation. The mage's spell fizzled as concentration shattered. "Why are you all following him?" Lola's voice carried silky danger that made grown demons reconsider their life choices. "Don't tell me you're planning on robbing our favorite shopkeeper. You wouldn't dare to hurt him, right?" Our favorite shopkeeper. Chapter 112. Demonic Oath. The 3 scary-looking demons, who'd seemed formidable while lurking in shadows, now looked like children caught stealing cookies. Their intimidating presence evaporated under Lola's ruby gaze. They were just apprentice-level mages who got greedy. They didn't have any business battling a master-level mage. That would be courting death, like a certain young master once said. "We were just walking," the scarred mercenary stammered, his voice carrying all the conviction of wet paper. "Coincidence that we ended up here." "Pure chance," the mage added, his hands trembling from Lola's pressure. Lola's smile disappeared like sunlight behind storm clouds. The temperature around them dropped several degrees as her aura changed from playful to wrathful. "Do you take me for a fool?" Her tone could have frozen fire. "I was planning to let you go after an apology, but not anymore." "Oh, they just signed their death off." Lola reached into her pocket space and withdrew the Eye of Apollo. The legendary artifact pulsed with truth-detecting energy that made reality itself seem more transparent. The 3 demons' faces went pale as they realized they had truly messed up. They'd watched the auction. They knew exactly what that orb could accomplish. "Please, we're sorry. We didn't mean any harm." The mercenary dropped his weapon and fell to his knees. "Just wanted to see the famous shopkeeper," the mage added, joining his companion in desperation. "Now they're groveling. Too little, too late. Enough with your games. You clearly tried to rob him. You know what you've done is punishable by death, right?" Lola's casual tone made the threat infinitely more terrifying. "Especially if I'm involved. Death penalty for attempted robbery? Demon justice is harsh. Therefore, I won't let you go scot-free. Unless..." Her smirk promised punishment that would make simple execution seem merciful. The demon's eyes widened in happiness. "We have a chance to survive," they thought all together. "Unless you swear on a demonic oath." The demons nodded frantically, clearly expecting promises to never attack Noah again. Standard criminal rehabilitation through oath binding. "We will never attack him again. Yes. Before the demons could finish, Lola interrupted them. "That's not the oath I have in mind," Lola purred. "They think they're getting off easy. Poor bastards." Her slender hand settled on Noah's shoulder. "I want you to swear an oath that you'll be his protectors from now on. And don't worry, I'm sure this man will not treat you badly." "Huh? What's going on?" Noah blinked in confusion as the situation escalated beyond his comprehension. 3 would-be robbers become his personal bodyguards through an oath contract law. This escalated quickly. The demons exchanged horrified glances as implications registered. Lifetime servitude versus immediate execution. They weren't exactly generous terms. The mercenary began. A fireball materialized in Lola's palm with menace. "We agree!" All three shouted simultaneously. Smart choice. That fireball looked dangerous. Noah thought. Excellent. Lola's smile returned with a satisfied nod. Proceed with the oath. The three demons raised their hands in resignation. "We swear by the only true God that we will serve as protectors of Noah Carter, defending him from harm and serving his interests, as long as he does not treat us harshly or ask us to die." Demonic oaths. There's actually such a thing as magically enforced contracts. Golden light flared around the group as the oath took effect, binding the three former attackers to Noah's service through mechanisms that he didn't understand. Everything's happening so fast. I went from being robbed to acquiring 3 bodyguards in under 5 minutes. Noah stared at his new protectors with bewildered fascination. The scarred mercenary looked resigned to his fate. The mage seemed to be calculating whether this was better than whatever alternatives Lola might have provided. Wait, if demonic oaths can force people into service contracts. The idea hit him like lightning, magically binding agreements that customers couldn't break. It was the perfect solution for his protein bar supply concerns. First-time buyers would eat inside the store. Second-time buyers would swear not to resell. The problem was solved through supernatural contract law, and the person behind it was once again Lola. Lola, are demonic oaths commonly used for business transactions? Noah said slowly. Her grin widened with obvious delight. Oh, you're going to love learning about commerce law. This changes everything. The slimes continued their innocent hopping, completely oblivious to the life-altering arrangements being finalized around them. Blop, blop, blop. Demonic oaths can be used for anything, Lola explained, her ruby eyes sparkling. Business contracts, personal agreements, political alliances. Any situation where absolute certainty is required. Anything. The applications are endless. Noah's mind raced through possibilities. The beauty lies in their absolute nature. Once sworn, the oath becomes part of the swearer's very existence. Breaking it triggers consequences that transcend simple penalties, she continued. Consequences? That sounds ominous. What kind of consequences? Noah asked, though part of him suspected the answer wouldn't be pleasant. Lola's expression grew serious, her playful demeanor once again evaporating. The oath doesn't simply punish, it destroys. First, the oathbreaker loses their hearing, cut off from the world's sounds. Complete deafness. And that's just the beginning. Then their sight fails, darkness becomes their permanent companion, isolating them further from reality. The 3 new bodyguards shifted uncomfortably, clearly remembering their recent binding with fresh appreciation for its seriousness. Next, their voice disappears entirely. No words, no cries for help, no communication with the outside world. Sensory deprivation leading to complete isolation. Finally, life itself abandons them. Death comes slowly, painfully, inevitably. Lola's voice dropped to barely a whisper. Progressive deterioration ending in guaranteed death. That's absolutely terrifying. Noah stared at his 3 protectors with a new understanding of their resigned acceptance. They hadn't just agreed to service. They'd bound their very survival to keeping their word. Although at the 2 conditions of good treatment and non-death resulting commands. No wonder demonic oaths are taken seriously. Breaking them means slow, painful destruction. The process typically takes weeks, plenty of time to contemplate the wisdom of oath-breaking while experiencing each stage of deterioration, Lola added. Weeks of progressive sensory loss before death. That's psychological torture on top of physical punishment. So when I use oaths for business, Noah began. Your customers will honor every agreement, Lola finished with satisfaction. Chapter 113 Training. The three demons straightened as formal introductions became necessary, their expressions carrying their resigned fate. "I'm Ed," announced the scarred mercenary. "Ed," added the combat mage, adjusting his robes nervously. "And I'm Eddie," concluded the third member. "Ed, Ed, and Eddie. You've got to be kidding me." Noah stared at his new bodyguards with bewildered amazement. "Are you all related?" "Brothers," Ed confirmed as a matter of fact. Three brothers named Ed, Ed, and Eddie, who turned to crime together. This world has a sense of humor. "Well, at least I'll remember your names easily," Noah said, suppressing his laughter at the absurd coincidence. The brothers positioned themselves at respectful distances as Noah prepared to resume his original purpose. Wind training required space and concentration, neither of which worked well with hovering bodyguards. "Time to test my wind manipulations combat applications. Let's see what level 4 can accomplish." Lola settled back onto the grass, her ruby eyes tracking Noah's movements with interest. Her posture suggested that she was just casually observing. "So he has wind talent now. He must have used the orb." Wind began stirring around Noah's hands as he used his newly acquired wind manipulation skill. Gentle currents responded to his will with enthusiasm. Basic wind control. Not bad for a newbie, Lola thought, watching the wind that Noah commanded. But as Noah progressed through increasingly harder techniques, Lola's interest transformed into genuine shock. The way he used his skill defied his recent awakening. Noah was demonstrating comprehension that should have required a longer training period. Wait, that's not beginner-level control, he's approaching novice level. Noah created multiple small vortexes simultaneously, maintaining control while directing their movement through specific patterns of his choice. The technique demanded skill and elemental sensitivity far beyond typical beginner capability. For someone who awakened their element hours ago, this is insane. Her eyes widened as she realized something. Noah's attainment level resembled practitioners who'd spent weeks or months refining their elemental understanding through dedicated practice. "I don't think he has a strong affinity to the wind element. He would have awakened it without an orb had that been true. His current attainments are impossible. Unless he couldn't have used the orb for knowledge absorption at his level, right?" she whispered, her voice carrying growing horror. "That would be the biggest waste imaginable." Wind orbs were Tier 5 artifacts precisely because they contained concentrated elemental essence that could accelerate development at any stage. But using them during initial awakening was universally considered a catastrophic resource mismanagement. You save orbs for breakthrough moments, when advancement stalls at higher levels, not for basic skill development. Advanced practitioners hoarded wind orbs for decades, waiting for the perfect moment when natural progression hit insurmountable barriers. Using such treasures for foundation building was like burning money for campfire fuel. No one in their right mind would waste Tier 5 artifacts on beginner training. Noah continued his demonstration, progressing to techniques that incorporated movement and combat applications. Wind-enhanced footwork that increased his speed, directed gusts that could deflect projectiles, even preliminary levitation attempts that defied gravity for brief moments. This is months of development compressed into hours. He definitely used the orb. After watching for several more minutes, Lola's curiosity overcame her shock. She approached with the slow steps of someone confirming their worst suspicions. "Noah, how exactly did you develop your wind manipulation so quickly?" she called, her voice calm despite her growing horror. "Please tell me you didn't do what I think you did." "Used the wind orb for training, absorbed its essence to accelerate my comprehension. Pretty efficient method," Noah replied casually. Noah had responded in a way that made his action sound like the most obvious thing in the world. He actually did it. He used a Tier 5 elemental orb like a textbook. Lola's face went pale as his confirmation hit her like a truck. "Noah, those orbs are incredibly rare. You should wait before using them. It's such a waste to consume them at low attainments. I can't believe I'm explaining basic resource management to someone who treats Tier 5 orbs like study guides." You're supposed to save them for breakthrough moments when natural advancement becomes impossible. Using them for foundation skills is insane, she continued, her voice rising with shock. Like explaining fire safety to someone who uses phoenix feathers as kindling. But Noah simply shrugged with the indifference of someone whose daily income included the replacement of such orbs. It's fine. I've got access to more when needed. Access to more. He says that like wind orbs grow on trees. Lola stared at him with the expression of someone watching world laws being casually violated. Her understanding of scarcity-based magical development was crumbling in real time. He's treating priceless artifacts like consumable training materials. This defies everything I know about elemental cultivation. The Ed brothers exchanged glances that suggested they were beginning to understand exactly whose service they'd been bound to. Someone who used Tier 5 treasures for basic skill development operated on a completely different level of resource access. Our new boss is either completely insane or incredibly wealthy. Possibly both. After killing several beetles using his wind manipulation, Noah felt the satisfaction of successful monster hunting fade into boredom. The creatures that had once challenged his swordsmanship now fell to his blade work and elemental enhancement with ease. These beetles are no longer enough for me. His novice-level attributes, combined with level 4 wind manipulation, had pushed him beyond the challenge that basic grass beetles could provide. Each fight ended in the same way, their death without any hardship. His wind-assisted strikes overwhelmed their simple defensive power. Time to move up to more dangerous prey. Noah's gaze shifted toward the deeper sections of the Crimson Mountains, where more formidable creatures made their habitat. The fireflies inhabited territories beyond the beginner-safe zones, representing a significant escalation in risk. Fireflies are Tier 1 monsters. They are known to be in a completely different league from Tier 0 monsters like the grass beetles. Chapter 114. Tier 1 Opponent. Tier 1 classification meant that such creatures were comparable to novice-rank mages in terms of combat capability. They possessed magical abilities, some intelligence, and survival instincts that made them genuinely dangerous opponents rather than training dummies with claws. They're not weak by any standards. This would be a real test. Noah turned toward Lola, who had been observing his beetle massacres with obvious amusement. Her expression suggested she viewed it as entertainment rather than serious combat training. Do you think I can handle fireflies at my current strength level? Time to get an expert opinion on my actual capabilities. I don't want my new strength to get to my head. That's a good question. Lola's ruby eyes studied him for a few seconds, evaluating his experience, wind manipulation skills, and overall combat readiness. She's calculating my survival odds. That's either reassuring or terrifying. You can, but it will be difficult. You'll most likely get injured during the fights, she replied after carefully considering his question. After answering his question, Lola's expression turned to her usual teasing one. But don't worry, I'm here to protect you, darling. Lola winked. The wink she delivered made Noah roll his eyes at her constant flirtation attempts. Even discussing potential life-threatening combat, she finds ways to be seductive. The Ed brothers positioned themselves with alertness. They knew that their job as protectors was going to be tested soon enough. Noah felt excitement building despite the acknowledged risks. Fireflies represented a legitimate advancement opportunity. They were creatures that could push his developing abilities toward their current limits. Real combat against worthy opponents. This is how skills actually improve. Fireflies waited in their hunting zones, ready to test whether Noah's rapid development translated into genuine combat effectiveness. Time to find out if wind manipulation works against opponents who fight back with magical abilities. The hunting grounds for fireflies lay deeper in the Crimson Mountains, where the terrain was slightly more rocky. This is definitely more dangerous territory. The Ed brothers had arranged themselves in a protective formation around Noah, their weapons drawn. Bound by an oath, they took their new responsibilities seriously. Fireflies nest in the thermal vents. They use the natural heat sources to amplify their magical affinity, Ed explained. So my enemy has an environmental advantage. That makes it more difficult. Lola moved beside Noah, her expression relaxed and confident. As a master-level mage, her power far exceeded anything they might encounter. For her, this expedition was more of a stroll rather than genuine danger. She's enjoying this, probably curious to see how I handle the fireflies. The first sign of firefly presence came through sound rather than sight. The firefly had a distinctive buzzing that made it extremely annoying. Bzzzt, bzzzt. The sound made Noah's teeth ache with its piercing frequency. That noise is incredibly annoying. How do these things not drive themselves insane? There! Ed pointed toward a cluster of thermal vents where multiple fireflies moved with agitated energy. It's probably attracted by our approach. The fireflies emerged from their nesting area with hostile intent immediately apparent. Each creature was roughly the size of a large puppy, but their proportions were abnormal. They had oversized wings that generated the maddening buzzing sound, bodies that glowed with internal fire, and prominent pincers that clicked. They're bigger than I expected, and those pincers look sharp. Bzzzt, bzzzt, bzzzt. 3 fireflies rose into the air with aggression, their wings creating the maddening sound. Here we go. This is the first real test of wind manipulation in real, life-threatening combat. Noah drew the zealous quick blade and immediately began channeling wind magic around the blade's edge. The elemental enhancement created visible air currents that increased cutting power and provided ranged attack options. Unfortunately, the enhancement wasn't significant. As a Tier 2 weapon, the zealous quick blade didn't have the elemental channeling that stronger weapons offered. Nonetheless, it still did the job. Wind-enhanced swordsmanship. Let's see how this works. The first firefly dove toward him with alarming speed, its pincers spread wide for a crushing attack. Noah attempted to dodge while launching a wind blade toward the creature. That attack was too slow. The firefly's natural agility exceeded his expectations. It twisted mid-flight, avoiding his elemental attack while raking pincers across his shoulder. The impact sent him stumbling backwards, blood seeping through torn fabric. They're fast. Much faster than beetles. Bzzzt, bzzzt. The second firefly attacked from his blind spot, breathing a stream of concentrated flame. Before it could reach him, Lola raised her hand and did a casual swooshing gesture. The stream of fire was immediately extinguished. As for the second firefly, it was squashed to death by Lola's casual gesture. Seeing Noah's gaze land on her in astonishment, she smiled. Continue. Don't worry about any interruption. For now, just focus on one. You can worry about multiple targets later, she added. Noah nodded, a grateful look on his face. Okay, that second firefly had given me crucial information. They can use fire breath. Eddie stepped forward, about to give Noah some clues on how to tackle the firefly. You need to. Let him learn, Lola interrupted smoothly, her ruby eyes fixed on Noah. The first firefly circled Noah, clearly looking for an opening, its compound eyes tracking his movements while maintaining distance in the air. Bzzzt, bzzzt. The firefly launched a concentrated flame stream that forced Noah into desperate evasion. The magical fire scorched the stone where he'd been standing, leaving smoldering patches that radiated heat. Okay, I can sort of understand its attack pattern. It uses the fire stream as a ranged attack, plus those pincers for close combat or maybe to defend itself up close. Noah attempted a wind blade counterattack, but the creature's aerial mobility made targeting difficult. It twisted through the air with the flexibility and agility that only flies have in the air. Too slow again. My attacks can't keep up with its speed. The firefly dove suddenly, pincers spread wide for a crushing strike. Noah raised his sword defensively, but the impact drove him backwards with bone-jarring force. Chapter 115. Tier 1 Firefly. Those pincers hit like hammers. I can't take many hits like that. Bzzzt. Another flame breath forced him to roll sideways, his clothes smoking from the near miss. The creature was maintaining pressure, not giving him time to recover or plan. I'm losing. It's too fast, too aggressive. Blood seeped from the pincer wound on his shoulder, each movement sending fresh pain through his muscles. His wind manipulation felt clumsy against such a mobile opponent. This isn't working. I need a different approach. During his intense training sessions, both with Master Tanaka and absorbing the wind orb's knowledge, he'd encountered references to advanced techniques. Aura manipulation, the practice of channeling mana directly into one's body for enhancement. Mana to strengthen my body. Internal enhancement instead of external projection. I should focus on my strengths, and that was my swordsmanship skill. As the highest level skill he had, swordsmanship was Noah's strongest card to amplify. Noah began redirecting his magical energy inward, feeling mana flow through his muscles and bones like liquid fire. The sensation was refreshing but intoxicating, strength building beyond his attributes. The firefly sensed the change and launched another aggressive assault. But when its pincers connected with Noah's sword, they met resistance that wasn't there before. Possible. It barely pushed me. The mana is strengthening me. You have learned the skill Aura level 5. New skill. Finally, the notification confirmed what Noah felt throughout his body. Aura wasn't just protection, it was amplification of every physical capability. Noah's counterstrike carried power that sent the firefly tumbling through the air. His mana-enhanced strength had multiplied the impact beyond normal novice limits. Now I can actually fight back effectively. BZZT. BZZT. The creature recovered with angry buzzing, anger and wariness burning in its large eyes. It had felt the new shift in Noah's strength. Noah channeled aura through his sword arm while maintaining wind manipulation around the blade. The combination created cutting effects that carved through the air with visible force. Whoosh! Aura plus wind magic plus swordsmanship. That's a terrifying enhancement. The firefly attempted another flame breath, but Noah's reflexes allowed him to dodge while closing the distance. His aura-powered leap carried him within striking range. This is it, the perfect chance. His blade, now enhanced by both aura and wind magic, traveled the air in a graceful arc that sliced clean through the firefly's left wing. Swish! Thud! The firefly's wings dropped to the floor, unresponsive. The effects of the lost wing were immediate. The firefly's flight became erratic as asymmetrical lift sent it spiraling to the floor. Grounded. Now it's vulnerable. BZZT. Crash. The firefly hit a stone with a powerful impact, and its remaining wing crumpled from the fall. But despite being wounded, it snapped at Noah with desperate fury. Still dangerous. I need to finish this quickly. Noah's final strike combined every enhancement he could muster. Aura flowed through his muscles while wind magic concentrated around his blade. The zealous quick blade carved through chitin and magical fire with devastating power. Victory is mine. Silence settled over the thermal vents as the last buzzing faded. The firefly's internal glow dimmed to darkness as life departed in a shower of sparks. First Tier 1 monster defeated solo. That felt incredible. You have killed a Tier 1 monster, Firefly. Lola's applause echoed in the air with a genuine smile of appreciation on her face. You are good at adapting to your environment. You discovered aura manipulation mid-combat. Good job. Thanks, I was able to gain control over my aura. It boosted my strength to novice level immediately, just like you told me last time. Noah confirmed, feeling the new skill's warm presence throughout his body. It's really a game changer for close combat. Body enhancement plus wind magic plus sword skills. I'm becoming a real combatant. The Ed brothers lowered their weapons with obvious relief. Their expressions carried respect for competence demonstrated under pressure. Lola approached him, her ruby eyes sparkling with approval. Ready for more challenging opponents? Single fireflies are merely introductory Tier 1 encounters. It's time to move beyond one opponent. Noah's eyes widened. She wants me to fight multiple fireflies? I just barely managed to defeat one. His initial instinct was pure rejection. Fighting a single firefly had pushed him to his limits, forcing him to discover aura manipulation mid-combat just to survive. Multiple opponents seemed like suicide. This is insane. I'm not ready for group combat. But as the shock faded, considerations emerged. Lola's protection didn't come often. She was a master-level mage whose attention was valuable beyond measure. With her guidance, he could perhaps push his development faster than safe progression allowed. When will I get another chance to train with a master watching my back? The Ed brothers provided security, but their response time couldn't match someone of Lola's caliber. If things went catastrophically wrong, she could intervene faster than anyone else. Risk versus opportunity. High stakes, but potentially massive advancement. Sure, but can you give me some tips? Noah decided, surprising himself with the acceptance. Of course, let's go. Lola's smile widened with satisfaction. Here we go. Multiple Firefly combat with a succubus instructor. They moved deeper into the thermal vent territory. The buzzing sounds grew louder as they approached more active nesting areas. More aggressive hunting grounds. There, perfect training opportunity. Lola pointed toward a cluster of 3 fireflies hovering near a particularly large thermal vent. 3 fireflies. This is going to be brutal. BZZT. 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 The creatures moved together, their combined buzzing creating an almost overwhelming ear assault. Each was roughly the same size as Noah's previous opponent, puppy-sized bodies with oversized wings and those menacing pincers. Same individual threat level, but group attacks will be completely different. Watch carefully. Group combat requires different priorities than single encounters, Lola whispered, her voice carrying instructions on how he should approach his upcoming fight. Without warning, she gestured subtly toward the leftmost firefly. A nearly invisible force struck the creature, crushing it instantly without alerting its companions. She killed one so quickly, I barely saw it happen. 2 opponents instead of 3. This should be doable, she explained quietly. Chapter 116. Fighting 2 Fireflies. Go, she commanded with a gentle tone. Time to see if I can handle multiple Tier 1 opponents. Noah approached the remaining fireflies with an aura already flowing through his physique. The mana enhancement felt more natural now, settling into his muscles like familiar clothing. The first firefly spotted him immediately, its eyes reflecting its hostile intent. But instead of attacking individually, it buzzed toward its companion with clear communication. They're communicating. This just got more difficult. Attacking a group of monsters was hard enough. But when the monsters could communicate, that made it even harder. BZZT. BZZT. Both creatures rose simultaneously, positioning themselves to attack from different angles. Their movement suggested intelligence and communication between them. Focus on your positioning. Never let them surround you, Lola called from her observation point. Once they surround you, you will become a sitting duck waiting to be slaughtered. Okay, so the first rule of fighting multiple opponents is positioning. Noah moved toward the rocky cover that would limit their approach angles. Wind manipulation swirled around his blade while aura continued flowing through his combat-ready physique. If they have their own environmental advantages, then I will make my own environmental advantage too. Use terrain to limit their options. The fireflies adapted immediately, one diving high while the other approached low. Their assault was designed to overwhelm single-target defenses. Here they come. Prioritas. Choose your target and commit. Lola's instruction cut through the buzzing noise. Don't try to fight both simultaneously. Focus fire. Noah targeted the lower firefly with concentrated wind magic, launching compressed air balls while closing the distance. His aura-enhanced speed carried him forward faster than the creature expected. I will conduct an aggressive approach. Force them to react to my timing. The targeted firefly attempted defensive maneuvers, but Noah was able to track its movements. His blade, enhanced by both aura and wind magic, carved deep gashes across its natural armor. First blood. But the second one. BZZT. The second firefly's flame breath forced Noah into a desperate evasion, his jacket smoking from the near miss. But Lola's voice provided guidance even as he rolled for cover. Use the wounded one as a shield. Make them interfere with each other. That's smart. How did I not think of that? Noah maneuvered so the wounded firefly was between him and its companion. When the second creature attempted another flame attack, It had to adjust its aim to avoid friendly fire. Perfect. Their team play is limiting their options. The wounded firefly attempted a desperate pincer strike, but Noah's aura-enhanced reflexes allowed perfect timing. His counterattack removed one wing completely, grounding the creature permanently. One down, one to go. BZZT. BZZT. The remaining firefly increased aggression, diving repeatedly while maintaining flame breath pressure. But fighting solo removed its tactical advantages. Back to single combat. I can handle this. You are not executing to finish, your combinations should end their lives. Don't just wound. Eliminate the threats completely, Lola instructed. Noah's final assault combined everything he'd learned. Aura flowed through enhanced muscles while wind magic concentrated around his blade. The zealous quick blade carved through the firefly's defenses with devastating power. Noah had achieved victory. 2 fireflies were defeated through Lola's guidance. You killed a Tier 1 beast, Firefly. You killed a Tier 1 beast, Firefly. Silence settled over the thermal vents as the last buzzing faded. 2 more Firefly corpses joined the battlefield's growing collection. Multiple opponent combat is significantly different from solo encounters. Clap, clap, clap. Noah turned to find Lola applauding him with genuine approval on her face. Excellent adaptation. You learned positioning, targeting priority, and tactical use of terrain. Thank you for your help, Noah said, taking a few deep breaths. He was breathless from the fight. Her guidance made the difference. Group combat is about controlling chaos. Individual skill matters less than battlefield awareness, she continued, approaching him. Noah felt the difference in his understanding. Multiple opponents required completely different mental frameworks than single-target elimination. This kind of instruction is invaluable. After the successful 2 Firefly encounter, Noah felt satisfied. Although he was exhausted, he was still happy with the results. His aura manipulation had stabilized during the fight, becoming more intuitive. That's enough training for tonight. Time to celebrate progress with some magical food. I think that's sufficient for today. Want to join me for some bread and tea back at the shop? Noah announced, wiping sweat from his forehead. Lola's ruby eyes sparkled with obvious interest. I thought you'd never ask. The Ed brothers exchanged uncertain glances as the group prepared to depart. Their expressions showed their confusion, unsure of what they were meant to do next. They don't know if they're supposed to follow us or not. Lola noticed their hesitation immediately, turning toward them. What are you doing standing there like statues? You're his guards. You protect him from when he opens the shop until he's finished for the day. Her tone carried enough pressure to make them straighten. She's establishing their duties. Good. I wasn't sure how this arrangement worked. If he tells me you're not doing your job properly, Lola slowly muttered, glaring at them. The death glare she delivered made all 3 brothers visibly shiver. Despite being bound by a magical oath that would destroy them once broken, the additional threat made it worse. We will. We will. They chorused immediately. The message was received. Either protect him at all times or suffer her wrath. And the Ed brothers didn't want to suffer a master-level succubus's wrath. They could only blame themselves as they walked back to the shop alongside Noah and Lola. The walk back to Sin City passed in comfortable silence. Noah's thoughts processing the evening's developments while Lola moved beside him with a satisfied smile. The Ed brothers maintained their formation around them, clearly taking their duties seriously after Lola's clarification. From robbers to professional security, some career transitions happened too quickly. Inside his shop, Noah settled into his ergonomic chair with relief that transcended mere physical comfort. He retrieved food for himself and Lola, then considered his new employees with genuine appreciation. Despite their criminal origins, they'd be his bodyguards from now on, and he wanted to treat them well. Chapter 117. Another protein bar. Here, enjoy these refreshments with us. Noah offered bread and tea to the Ed brothers. Treat employees well and they perform better. It was a simple rule in life. Ed accepted the offerings with surprised gratitude. Thank you. We weren't expecting. Compensation includes meals when appropriate. Don't worry, I won't make you work like slaves, Noah replied, a smile on his face. Noah was setting an unprecedented behavior. As someone who has power over their life and death, he was extremely generous and merciful. The Ed brothers exchanged glances, clearly regretting the fact that they wanted to rob such a good person. As they settled into an impromptu meal, Lola's attention turned toward the display shelves as she spotted something that shouldn't be there. Her expression changed from casual contentment to something approaching shock. She spotted something interesting. "Why, you have another one already?" Her voice carried disbelief mixed with excitement. Noah followed her gaze to the protein bar display, where a fresh specimen sat in pristine packaging. The automaker had completed its 2-hour production cycle while they'd been training. Right on schedule. Automated production never disappoints. "I told you before, I've got some more coming, so I will naturally have another one," Noah replied with satisfaction at her amazement. Lola turned toward him with desperate eagerness. "I want it. How much do you want for this one?" She's practically vibrating with anticipation. Permanent attribute enhancement does that to people. Noah shook his head with gentle firmness. "This one isn't for sale. But come back tomorrow. I'll give you one then." Noah decided to keep the one on the shelf for his father. Increasing his father's strength would improve his body condition. Even if it wasn't necessarily vitality, it would still be a good boost. "Really?" Her voice climbed several octaves with excitement. "Yes, really. But you'll have to pay me 500 golden coins. I won't ask much from you. You are my first customer after all. 500 instead of the 1,000+ auction price. Friends discount. It's done. Absolutely done." Lola nodded with enthusiasm that made her hair bounce. Before Noah could respond, Lola lunged forward from her chair with supernatural speed. "What is she?" Noah's eyes widened as the succubus launched herself at him. Her movements were so fast that his reflexes couldn't react in time. Suddenly, she was in his embrace, arms wrapped around him in a hug that felt both grateful and possessive. "Thank you," Lola whispered directly into his ear, her breath warm against his skin. "This is different. This isn't her usual teasing." Heat flooded Noah's cheeks as genuine emotion replaced her typical seduction. He'd built immunity against her casual flirtation, but this level of sincere gratitude hit completely different emotional targets. "She means it. She's actually grateful." The Ed brothers politely averted their gazes while continuing to eat their magical bread, clearly recognizing a moment that transcended simple business relationships. Inside his house, Noah carefully retrieved a protein bar alongside 2 loaves of healing bread from his storage ring, placing them into a simple plastic bag. "These are for Dad." The sky was darkening as the sun began setting. He'd spent most of his time in the Demon Kingdom, but visiting hours still allowed enough time for meaningful conversation. The GTRS engine purred to life as Noah settled into the driver's seat. The hospital was only 20 minutes away, but anticipation made every moment stretch longer. Dad's gonna feel better than he has in months. The familiar corridors of the medical facility welcomed him. Evening shift nurses moved around, helping to manage the chaos that defined hospital care. Room 412. Time to deliver some miracles disguised as bakery goods. Noah knocked gently before entering, finding his father propped against pillows with a book resting forgotten on his lap. Alan's face brightened with joy at the sight of his son. "Noah, 2 visits and the week just started? I'm really spoiled. Brought you more of those specialty items, the kind that help with recovery," Noah replied, settling into the visitor's chair while placing the plastic bag on the bedside table. "Plus, something that'll permanently improve his strength. Can't wait to see his reaction." Alan's eyes lit up with recognition as Noah began unpacking the contents. The healing bread's warmth, but also something new, a wrapped bar. "Where did you get this from? I've never seen such a protein bar before," his father observed, studying the protein bar's unusual packaging. "It's a special one. One of my close business friends gave it to me, and it's made from many beneficial herbs. It's supposed to provide significant strength enhancement, permanent improvement to overall physical condition." Although I'm not sure if they are exaggerating or not, Noah explained carefully. Alan accepted the explanation with the trust that came from seeing previous results. The last healing bread had provided noticeable improvement that no traditional medicine had matched. "You've been taking good care of yourself," his father said, noting Noah's improved posture and obvious confidence. "You look stronger, more capable. Business has been good for my health. Having money reduces stress, improves everything else," Noah replied. They shared the healing bread together. Father and son connected through simple food that carried extraordinary properties. Alan's color improved with each bite, vitality returning to features that had been worn down by illness. "This feels like a celebration," Alan said, his voice carrying strength that had been missing for months. "Thanks for the amazing stuff, son. I will eat this protein bar another time," he said, placing the protein bar back in the plastic bag. Noah's face dropped. He had wanted his dad to eat the protein bar first, but his dad clearly enjoyed the loaf. "Boo!" Before he could finish, the nurse came in and interrupted him. "Visiting time is over. Please start heading out of the ward," the nurse said, glancing at him before continuing her job. Noah sighed and nodded. "Dad, make sure you eat this. You can't give this thing to anyone else, understood? This is more important than the loaf of bread. It's many times more important. Okay? Okay, son. Don't worry. I won't give it to anyone else." Chapter 118, Strength Boost. The next day, Alan woke up from his sleep feeling remarkably refreshed. The healing bread from yesterday had worked its magic throughout the night, leaving him with energy levels he hadn't experienced in months. Noah wasn't exaggerating about these specialty foods. He sat up in bed with ease that surprised him, his usual morning stiffness notably absent. The protein bar sat on his bedside shelf where he'd carefully placed it the evening before. He said this was more important than the bread. "Let's see what makes it so special." Alan unwrapped the protein bar with careful attention, noting its unusual packaging. The hospital's morning coffee sat cooling beside him. "Here goes nothing." The first bite sent shockwaves through his system that had nothing to do with caffeine. Power flooded through his muscles like liquid lightning, making every fiber feel supercharged with potential energy. "What in the world?" Alan gripped the bed rail with his free hand, watching in amazement as his knuckles whitened from pressure that should have been impossible. The metal frame groaned under the force his weakened body shouldn't have been able to generate. "I feel like I could lift a car." The transformation was immediate and overwhelming. Muscles that had been wasted by months of illness suddenly felt dense with strength that defied medical explanation. His grip strength had multiplied beyond anything he'd experienced even in his athletic youth. "This isn't normal nutrition. This is something else entirely." He flexed his arm experimentally. The functional strength he was experiencing made his entire body feel like an instrument designed for power. "Noah, just what in the world did you give me?" The protein bar's effects continued building with each bite. Alan felt energy coursing through his frame that transcended mere physical enhancement. This was fundamental improvement to his body's capabilities. "I could probably arm wrestle men half my age and win." When he attempted to stand, the movement carried none of his usual careful positioning to avoid strain. His legs supported his weight with confidence that made walking feel effortless. "This is incredible. I feel 20 years younger." A passing nurse noticed his improved posture immediately. "Mr. Carter, you look different this morning. Stronger." "Feeling much better," Alan replied. The protein bar's wrapper lay empty beside his coffee cup, but the effects continued building throughout his enhanced musculature. Alan felt like he could take on the world. Half an hour passed and the temporary increase had left. Alan still felt that he was much stronger than before, but he had gotten weaker since the time he ate the protein bar. Daily income stream has been rewarded. Wind Orb, Tier 5, DeMonica Munberg. Inside his store, Noah surveyed the multiple protein bars on his shelf alongside the full stock of bread and tea. His automakers had worked through the night, ensuring complete inventory despite yesterday's sales. Perfect timing. Everything's restocked for today's business. But before opening for customers, Noah approached the protein bar display with anticipation that had been building since he'd first discovered the product's effects. Time to claim that permanent enhancement for myself. He grabbed one of the bars with care. Despite its insane effects, Noah felt no mana or anything to indicate that. My strength will fly through the roof. Unlike others who would only consume such a treasure near the end of their potential, Noah had no such thoughts. The shop was only level 2, and he would continuously get new items. So he didn't even bother worrying about bottlenecks like others did. Noah peeled the wrapper slowly, savoring the moment before taking his first bite. The taste was incredible, rich, complex flavors that made him smile in contentment. The effects began immediately. Power flooded through his muscles like molten steel, making every fiber feel supercharged. Oh, this is intense. His enhanced strength multiplied dramatically. Noah clenched his fist, and the sound it made almost terrified him. He felt like the wind was being compressed by him. The transformation continued building with each swallow. This changes everything about combat effectiveness. When the last bite finished, Noah immediately accessed his status screen to confirm the reality of his improvement. Host: Noah Carter. Age 28. Shop level 2. Daily revenue $135,000. Current assets $315,240.21. Shop points 1,010. Attributes: Strength 30 plus 15. Vitality 4. Intelligence 20. Agility 20. Skills: Swordsmanship level 6. Mana control level 5. Aura level 1. Wind manipulation level 4. Surviving on ramen level 3. Cooking level 2. Programming level 2. Gaming level 2. Finance level 1. My strength is currently at 30. I've gained 10 points from the protein bar, and the 15 in brackets should be from the temporary 50% enhancement. After eating the protein bar, Noah decided to start his day as a shopkeeper. Noah opened his shop door, flipping the sign to indicate business hours had begun. The succubus didn't give him a chance to settle in, as if she'd been waiting for the exact second he opened to barge through the entrance. Where is it? Lola looked like a hungry wolf as her ruby eyes immediately landed on the shelf. There are so many. Where are you getting so many from? She spotted all 11 protein bars. Noah smiled mysteriously. Secret. 500 golden coins, she said, immediately producing payment without negotiation. Unlike Noah had expected, she didn't unwrap the bar immediately. Instead, she carefully stored it in her personal space. She's saving it for when the 50% temporary boost will matter most. She is definitely planning something. Lola sat down and spoke with him for a while before purchasing 2 pieces of bread and some iced tea. After that, she left. Noah stared at her departing figure. There was a day left before his stay at the demonic kingdom came to an end. And with that, he would no longer see the succubus that always tested him, at least until he came back the next time. Of course, Noah planned to let her and everyone in the kingdom know about his departure. But he planned to leave it until the day of the departure. His next destination was the first one he had been to, the human kingdom. He had decided to sort out the issue between the 2 kingdoms, because it was sad to see so many people die because of the extremists. Chapter 119: Mysterious Egg. Time passed in steady shop activity. Customer after customer entered his shop, each displaying identical reactions when they spotted the legendary protein bars displayed in abundance. Noah had established pricing tiers based on magical rank rather than uniform costs. The system he created encouraged broader access while acknowledging different economic capabilities. Novices paid 100 golden coins. Apprentices faced 300 coin prices. Adept-level practitioners and above were charged 600 coins. Of course, they were all required to have in-store consumption to prevent resale across all ranks. Rank-based pricing plus consumption requirements covers security concerns while maximizing accessibility. Additional restrictions limited novice and apprentice purchases to 1 per day each, preserving inventory for higher-paying adept customers. This meant that once a novice dropped by and bought it, another novice would have to wait for the next day before they could buy it. Of course, this rule would be implemented by him when he wanted. If the end of his shift arrived and he still had stock left, he would sell it to a novice despite the previous rule. Rules were sometimes meant to be broken. With 12 bars of daily production, minus his personal consumption and Lola's purchase, 10 units remained currently for sale. The morning continued with steady sales that validated his pricing strategy. The familiar sound of theatrical cape billowing announced Viscount Vex's arrival before he became visible. His entrance carried the same dramatic energy that made him Noah's most entertaining regular customer. Precious perched behind his ear with obvious excitement, her needle-sharp teeth clicking in anticipation of their usual shopping routine. Right on schedule. But his usual confidence evaporated the moment his eyes landed on the protein bar display. 5 identical units sat in elegant presentation, representing the legendary enhancement that had dominated yesterday's auction. Impossible. I thought it was unique. A singular treasure that I will never see again. He breathed, his voice carrying genuine shock. Vex approached the display with reverent steps, his expression cycling through disbelief, wonder, and growing excitement. Precious leaned forward with obvious interest, apparently sharing her master's amazement. "We thought it was finished," he murmured to his carnivorous companion. "That we'd missed our only opportunity." They assumed the auction represented singular availability, natural conclusion given the bidding intensity. "Are these for sale?" Vex asked with hope plastered all over his face. Noah nodded. 600 golden coins or equivalent trade value. Vex's face fell as financial reality intruded on his enthusiasm. His shoulders sagged with the weight of someone whose resources couldn't match their desires. "I don't have 600 coins with me personally right now," he admitted with obvious disappointment. "And I fear returning home might mean missing this opportunity entirely." Noah watched as Vex calculated his options. He really wants permanent strength improvement, not just social bragging rights. Most people would buy such things to brag about them. After all, having an expensive item that anyone could buy gave them status and airs that others couldn't have. "Let me check my storage ring," Vex said with desperate hope. "Perhaps I have something of equivalent value. Trade goods instead of currency. Always interesting to see what people carry." Vex began examining his dimensional storage, muttering assessments as various items appeared and disappeared. Precious offered commentary through tooth-clicking that seemed genuinely helpful to Vex's decisions. His plant provides advice on most things. Their partnership is remarkably thorough. "Oh, this one. I almost forgot about it." His excitement peaked as he withdrew something that made both man and plant vibrate with anticipation. The object that emerged was clearly valuable beyond mere monetary consideration. Mystery item. This should be interesting. What Vex produced was an egg roughly the size of a basketball, its surface covered in golden scales. The shell seemed to glow with internal energy that suggested its extraordinary contents. "That's not a normal chicken egg. This is an egg I found during an exploration expedition with Precious. While I don't know its exact value, several experts I consulted estimated at least 500 golden coins." Vex explained with obvious pride. 500 minimum. Close to the required price range. Precious clicked her teeth with what sounded like confirmatory agreement, apparently having participated in the original discovery. "What do you think?" Vex asked with hopeful anticipation. Noah did not give Vex an immediate response. Noah focused his inspection ability on the mysterious egg. Lion egg. Description: an egg containing a juvenile golden mane lion, a magical creature renowned for incredible strength, fierce loyalty, and protective instincts. When hatched, the creature will bond permanently with the first being it encounters. Golden mane lions mature into formidable companions capable of matching adept-level magical practitioners in combat effectiveness. Estimated price: 700 golden coins. 700 coins. That's good. But the egg? I will have a beast companion, a lion at that too. Noah thought, a huge smile breaking out on his face. The description revealed something extraordinary. Not just valuable trade goods, but a potential permanent companion with combat capabilities. A magical lion that bonds with its first contact. That must be incredibly rare. Can also reach an adept level. Deal, Noah said without hesitation. Vex's face transformed with relief and gratitude that transcended simple commercial satisfaction. His hands trembled slightly as he placed the precious egg on Noah's counter. "Thank you," he said with genuine emotion. "This means more than you realize. Permanent enhancement versus future companion. Different types of power improvement." Precious extended tiny vine tendrils toward the protein bar with obvious approval, apparently recognizing the wisdom of trading future potential for immediate advancement. Even his plant agrees with the exchange. The transaction completed smoothly, leaving Vex with his coveted enhancement, and Noah with a mysterious egg that promised interesting developments ahead. As Vex departed with his protein bar, carefully wrapped for strategic consumption, Noah contemplated the golden egg now resting on his table. System. How do I make it hatch? Host, the lion egg you have is in its final phases of development. You can accelerate the process by feeding it iced tea. The magical enhancement will absorb into the developing creature, strengthening its natural abilities and creating a more powerful bond with its first contact. Chapter 120, Lion Companion. Iced tea works on unborn magical creatures too. The applications keep expanding. The golden mane lion will emerge within hours of receiving mana enhancement. Be prepared for immediate bonding. The creature will imprint on the first being it sees upon hatching. This bond becomes permanent and unbreakable. Permanent bonding. That's both reassuring and terrifying. Additionally, the lion's loyalty will be absolute. It will defend you with its life and grow stronger alongside your own development. Adult golden mane lions can match adept-level practitioners in combat effectiveness. Adept-level combat companion. That's like having a permanent bodyguard who actually wants to protect me. Noah retrieved a bottle of iced tea from his shelf, noting how the egg seemed to pulse with anticipation as the magical liquid approached. Even unhatched, it can sense mana enhancement. He poured the peach-colored tea over the golden shell, watching as the liquid was absorbed instantly. The egg's internal glow intensified dramatically, and hairline cracks began spreading across its surface. It's working. The hatching process is accelerating. The shell continued fracturing as whatever was inside pushed against its confines with growing strength. Noah positioned himself directly in front of the egg, ensuring he would be the first thing the creature saw. First contact determines permanent loyalty. Can't mess this up. Golden light began seeping through the expanding cracks, and the sound of something moving within grew steadily louder. Here we go. Crack. The first fracture split the shell completely, releasing a burst of magical energy that made the air shimmer with golden particles. Crack. Crack. More pieces fell away as tiny paws pushed against the confines of what had been home for months. Noah positioned himself carefully, ready to ensure proper first contact bonding. Crack. The final section of shell crumbled away, revealing the creature within. But instead of facing Noah as expected, the newly hatched lion turned toward his display shelves with obvious curiosity. No. Wrong direction. Noah immediately sprinted around his counter, nearly tripping over his own feet in desperation to position himself correctly. The bonding moment was crucial. Permanent loyalty depended on proper first visual contact. Please don't bond with my iced tea. He slid into position just as tiny blue eyes opened for the first time, blinking in the shop's gentle lighting. What looked back at him was the most adorable creature Noah had ever encountered. Oh my God, it's incredibly cute. The lion was roughly the size of a house cat, covered in fluffy golden fur that seemed to glow with inner light. Its mane was barely visible, tiny tufts of slightly darker gold that would eventually grow into the magnificent crown that gave the species its name. It looks like a living stuffed animal. Enormous blue eyes blinked up at Noah with innocent wonder, taking in their first sight of the world. The little creature's proportions were endearingly kitten-like. The little one had oversized paws, a round face, and ears that seemed too big for its head. This is the combat companion that matches adept-level practitioners? It looks like it belongs in a children's toy store. The lion opened its tiny mouth and spoke its first word with crystal clarity that somehow bypassed language barriers entirely. Mama! It can talk. And it thinks I'm its mother. No, not Mama. I'm your Papa. Noah replied quickly, his voice climbing several octaves with panic. Papa. That works better than master or owner. Less weird since it's treating me like a parent anyway. The little lion tilted its head with curiosity, processing this correction with obvious intelligence. Its tail, barely more than a golden tuft, wiggled with excitement. Papa! It repeated with enthusiasm that made Noah's heart melt completely. The lion attempted its first steps on unsteady legs, wobbling like a newborn kitten discovering gravity. Each movement was accompanied by tiny chirping sounds that somehow conveyed both determination and confusion. It's learning to walk, like watching a baby take its first steps. Papa, what is this place? The lion asked, its voice carrying childlike wonder as it surveyed the shop. Can form a comprehensive phrase already. Golden mane lions are clearly more intelligent than I gave them credit for. This is my shop, Noah explained, settling onto the floor to meet the creature at eye level. I sell magical food to customers. Food. The lion's ears perked up with immediate interest. I'm hungry, Papa. Of course it's hungry. Just hatched from an egg after absorbing magical tea. Noah retrieved a small piece of healing bread, breaking it into manageable portions. The lion sniffed the offering with obvious appreciation before taking delicate bites. It tastes like sunshine, the creature declared with innocent joy. Like sunshine. That's actually a perfect description. As the lion ate, its movements became more coordinated. The magical bread was clearly providing nutrition that accelerated its development beyond normal biological processes. Papa, what am I called? The lion asked between bites, its blue eyes fixed on Noah with complete trust. Names. I need to give it a name. Noah considered various options while watching the adorable creature demolish breadcrumbs with kitten-like behavior. Traditional names felt too formal, human names seemed inappropriate, but something meaningful would create better bonding. Golden fur, magical nature, loyal companion. How about Leo? Noah suggested. It means brave and strong. The lion's entire body wiggled with excitement. Leo. I like Leo. Papa named me Leo. Leo finished eating and immediately began exploring his new environment with typical feline curiosity. He sniffed everything within reach, his tiny nose twitching as magical scents provided information about his surroundings. Papa, this place smells like magic and happiness, Leo observed with innocent wisdom. The bond between them was already strengthening, creating connection that transcended normal pet relationships. Leo wasn't just a creature, he was family, complete with personality and opinions. Permanent magical companion who thinks I'm his parent. Some responsibilities arrive unexpectedly. Leo discovered his reflection in the display case glass and immediately pounced, tiny paws scrabbling against smooth surface in confusion about why the other lion wouldn't play.